camera's just going to appear at some point in the first innings, 5 overs. No idea when. It might be one of those like Spider-Man.
Vertu, official partner of Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
Ellie Frelko, Seren Smale, Kate Cross, Tara Norris, Venus Wirapalli, Sophie Morris and Fee Morris. The umpires are Mohammed Wasim and Suri Shanmugam, and the match referee is Helen Pack. Your scorers today are Quentin Jones and Steve Ward.
Well, a very good afternoon and welcome along to Clifton Park, York for Rose's T20 action, the first ever meeting in this format between a fully professional Yorkshire and Lancashire. Yorkshire took victory when the sides met at Old Trafford earlier on this season, back on the 25th of April by 83 runs, probably the White Roses' best performance of the season. And it is a bit of a do-or-die clash for both teams, not just in terms of the rivalry, but the way the table looks. Yorkshire with no wins from 7 in the Blast, 6 losses and a no result at Durham. Lancashire, meanwhile, with a win and 6 defeats. Both sides chasing a top 4 spot, but Lancashire 8th, Yorkshire 9th. And both sides well aware that if they were to lose this one, they are all but out of the competition with 4 games to spare. And I'm delighted to say, alongside yours truly, Michael McCann, for this one, is someone who I'm all too aware is an absolute legend to have in the building. Our honorary president for life, regardless of recent administrative changes. It's a very good sunny York day to Dr. Jane Powell.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm really looking forward to this game. It's always one of those games when you're a Yorkshire person, that Yorkshire, Lancashire, this is the game you really want to make a mark in and come out with the victory.
Yeah, 100%. I might not sound it, but as someone who all of my mum's side are from Pontefract, have grown up all too aware, despite the fact she made the mistake of marrying a southerner, so grew up in Cambridge, of quite the significance of when the White Rose meet the Red Rose. And of course, is a rivalry that goes back to an era where the fighting was done in a slightly more uncivilised way than anything we expect to see on the cricket field today. We'll run you through the teams, which you can actually see up there on the new scoreboard at Clifton Park as well. Yorkshire, Amy Campbell, Erin Thomas, Jess Jonathan, Sarah Glenn, Lauren Winfield-Hill, Beth Langston, Olivia Thomas, Claudie Cooper, Jess Woolston, Stair Callis and Hannah Rainey. So quite a bit to pick out for that from Yorkshire. 3 alterations from the side that lost by 42 runs away against Hampshire back on the 26th of June. Rebecca Duckworth, Alice Clark and Innes Blackwell all drop out. Clark can't play against Lancashire because she's on loan from them. The 3 to come in, Jess Woolston and Hannah Rainey reinforcing the seam bowling lineup. Rainey back from Scotland World Cup duties, and Stair Callis back from being involved for the Dutch, of course, at the World Cup. Your thoughts on that Yorkshire team?
Yeah, it's always interesting to see who gets the nod and who doesn't at this stage. You know, sadly we've got a few injuries in camp, so they're not up for selection. But it's nice to see Hannah Rainey and Stair Callis coming back from World Cup duties, and I think they always will bring a lift to the team because they've been playing high-level cricket and T20 for the last 5 matches that they've played. So it'll be good to have them back in the ranks as well.
Yeah, of course, that World Cup kicking on. Australia in the final on Sunday, and England and South Africa will play at the Oval on Thursday for the right to meet them. Let's take a check on the Lancashire side. Lancashire, of course, double winners last season, taking the Metrobank One Day Cup and the County Cup, but they found things much more difficult this time around. Eve Jones, a promising youngster from Australia by the name of Meg Lanning, and I'm being very sarcastic, of course. Tilly Casteven, Emma Lamb, Ellie Frelkoud, Seren Smell, Kate Cross, Tara Norris, Venus Wirapuli, Sophie Morris and Fee Morris. And Fee Morris coming back in for Darcy Carter, who had a very good World Cup, but you just wonder whether there's a little bit of fatigue there for Carter, who played in the game 3 days ago where Lancashire lost against Warwickshire, which leaves them somewhat on the brink of elimination in both competitions. In the 50-over stuff, Lancashire is second bottom with 3 wins from 10, and Yorkshire is 7th with 3 wins from 9. And as mentioned in the T20s, these sides have just 1 win between them. But in terms of how that team sheet stacks up, it's a strong Lancashire side. It's a team that it's almost quite hard to pick apart that and the table. They, somewhat similarly to Yorkshire, found a way to lose a lot of close games this season.
Yeah, and I'm looking at that team sheet and I can see at least 5 players, 6 that have played international cricket, you know, whether that's for Australia or USA with Tara Norris in there and the rest obviously for England. And you just think, wow, that's a strong lineup. And it's one of those that you just want to try and get into quite early if you're batting, which obviously Yorkshire will be.
So Lancashire Thunder winning the toss and choosing to field here at Clifton Park on what is a fresh pitch. But by all accounts, by nature of it being fresh, won't necessarily do a lot for the spinners, but will do a bit more for the Pacers. It's a natural surface. There are some hybrid wickets here at York, and they have got some live grass on there, which they've left on because of the recent heat. You don't want to risk a wicket becoming too baked. But as one of the members of the ground staff said to me, don't let the colour put you off. They think that the wicket will play much better than it necessarily looks, as Amy Campbell and Erin Thomas head out to open the batting for Yorkshire. Lovely moment for the flag bearers.
Yeah, I was just looking there, and Erin Thomas was fist bumping because obviously, if you haven't seen it, there's a social media post going around where Erin Thomas lost. I wouldn't say a bet, but she
finished bottom of the Fantasy Football League.
Bottom of the Fantasy Football League and ended up being a flag bearer.
She got a high five from Liam Livingston at the men's Roses match, and Thomas now returning the favour to some much younger flag bearers. They were part of a big set of women's and men's, really boys and girls, county finals, which have happened this morning on the ground here at York. And a lovely touch came afterwards when Erin Thomas and Stair Callis were the two that presented the medals to the youngsters. It was Callis providing the high fives and Thomas putting the medals round the neck. But now they've got to focus on more serious matters. Tara Norris has got ball in hand to start from the City end. They're just getting her field sorted with Frelkel. Of course, only 2 allowed out for the first 6 overs. She's got a deep point and a deep square leg in a 5-4. As already mentioned by my summariser, an American international, someone thoroughly experienced, has been a big part of this Lancashire side building into a trophy-winning outfit.
Yeah, and the left-handed Campbell to face, and she can be quite powerful when she gets going. So Yorkshire will be hoping that she gets going out there.
Last ball of the game, and Campbell drives, timing it nicely out to that fielder. It's more of a deep cover point, really. Campbell, in this Sparks kind of regional era, was generally used often in the top 3 in T20s. And one intriguing turnaround is that, having pretty much exclusively batted at number 5 for Yorkshire, as Yorkshire's player of the season last season, at the start of this campaign, in the last month or so, has returned to the top of the order. First ball Thomas is faced is just pushed out to cover. These two are both very naturally aggressive players, and I know what you're thinking. Well, Michael, it's a T20, of course they're going to be, but these are 2 players anyway who you'd think both will really look to go after the power play.
Yeah, and Thomas is very good down the ground as well, so she'll be looking to keep it fairly straight, but just punch through the ball.
Doing that exactly there, but hitting mid on the bounce. Bit of shape for Norris. There is a little bit of a slope for Erin Thomas to contend with that Norris will hope will take Thomas's head away to the offside. It's not huge, but it is a little undulating, as that angle perfectly shows. Thomas whips this away, wristily done, and will get 4. First 4 of the Roses T20. Just straying onto the pads, and it's a lovely clip round the corner from Erin Thomas.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot. You know, the way that she went to play it straight, but realised it was coming onto her hips and then just pushed through with her bottom hand. And that's the advantage of keeping side on as long as possible. You see that she goes down the ground, but it's the bottom hand that comes through just to whip that round the corner. And it just flew over the boundary. That's a great start for Erin Thomas.
Yeah, she had some hip problems early season. In more recent times, she seems to have been starting to find a bit more form. She got 67 in the win against Durham. That was her best score for Yorkshire in a senior women's competitive game. That's in the 50-over format. Thomas will get more runs here. The field changing to having both sweepers out on the side. The only problem with a field like that is you're really signalling that Norris can't afford to offer too much width. It's a different field, though, for the left-handed Campbell. It's back to plan A, really. Deep square leg and deep third, the 2 out. Swinging away from the left-handed Campbell. Last season was that best batter in T20 cricket in the second tier, but slightly struggled for runs a bit more this season. She's going to get some runs there, chancing her arm. Well, it plinks a bit, but it goes for 4. She takes the brave option in the power play and gets rewarded for it. First boundary for Amy Campbell.
Yeah, and a good first over there from Yorkshire with the 2 boundaries and the 2 singles as well. So 10 off the first over, and they'll be content with that. You know, it's one of those where you don't really want to take too many risks, but you've definitely got to play with intent, and you've got to play positively in the hopes that you can pick up quick runs whilst they've only allowed 2 fielders outside the inside ring.
Yeah, it's an interesting change of role for Campbell. Having for a season and a bit not batted in the top 2 or 3 really at all, I can recall at any point.
Yeah, I like the left hand, right hand, because, you know, it can mess around with the bowler, because the bowler has to change their line. Whenever you have bowling to the right-hander, you've got to get one line, and for the left-hander, you've got to get another line. And early in the game, that's not always straightforward.
Now, on comes Kate Cross.
I was going to say, but we do have the experience of Kate Cross coming in now.
From the rugby ground end. It started from being in the slot and pumped down the ground by Thomas Aford. That is the area where she's at her strongest. An early statement of intent from Erin Thomas against the legend that is Kate Cross.
Yeah, that was a really positive shot. You could see that she was just waiting for the ball to hopefully be in the slot. And we'll see it here. It comes through and it's in that slot. She just picks it up and just full swing of the bat right through the ball. And there's the 4, 1 bounce and 4.
Been searching a bit for a 20 over score. Maybe today is her day. Cross this time goes shorter, and Thomas will whip this away, but will get just 1. Enthusiastically fielded out there to ensure no prospect of 2. She got 42 in the second blast game, Erin Thomas. That was the home defeat against Surrey, but since then, 3-ball duck against Somerset, 17 against Essex, 13 against Durham, 3 against Hampshire, then a 2-ball duck against Somerset in the County Cup. So she's been in a bit of a barren run when it comes to the T20s.
And from a cricket perspective, hitting a boundary and then rotating the strike is exactly what they need to keep doing. That's what you call good cricket, because now Kate Cross has to think about that different line.
Decent looking cover drive from Campbell. It's half stopped. Fielded by Emma Lamb,
who had too many Weetabix.
Yeah, who is, and this is one thing that definitely is factored into Lancashire not having the season they want. Lamb had a period of time out injured. Gabby Lewis got injured almost immediately after scoring an early season ton, and of course it was Lewis's ton that was big in winning that 50 over final against Hampshire last season. Ross this time has surely got Thomas has. Well, I wonder whether it was a bit of a slur ball. Erin Thomas was certainly through the shot early. It's a pretty comfortable catch, all told. And Erin Thomas, having looked quite positive early doors, has to go. Tara Norris would have caught that one in her sleep. 16 for 1.
Yeah, that's the difference between meeting it completely in the slot and swinging the bat fully through it. And if you look, she doesn't quite swing a bat all the way through. It stops. You know, and I think that's the problem sometimes, is that you're caught in that check drive, full drive, and if you don't go fully through with the bat, you take some pace off the ball, and as a result, it went straight to mid-on, who just literally had to wait for it and took a very comfortable catch.
Well, also, as that replay showed, she's fetched that one from a good foot outside off stump.
Yep.
I think it was also a slow ball, so it just... That probably is what causes the hesitation from Erin Thomas. There's a bit of an instinct to go and hit the ball. Here we go. It's great to have another look at this. Lovely work from our team behind the scenes. I do think Cross has taken a touch of pace off there. There's no doubt that Thomas is just fetching it a little. That's what puts her in that position. Jess Jonathan faces up for the first time. He's going to get 1 away to the right of Norris. Jonathan, who has been about 3 players in 1 for Yorkshire this season. She missed the County Cup defeat against Somerset, and Yorkshire had the dilemma of how do you replace about 3 different people at the same time? She's been absolutely sensational.
Yeah, you would say that she's the star player this season.
Well, this is sliced. This could be out. Well, Campbell has managed to get it over mid-on. In fact, it's a 1-bounce 4. For a moment, I thought that had gone straight up for a catching chance for Jones. It's actually a very similar kind of boundary to what Campbell hit in the previous over, where it's kind of muscled more than timing, but it's 4 on the board regardless. So a boundary to end the second, 21 for 2.
Yeah, I think we were at different angles there because I thought, no, that's well over as it was hit. And the difference there was Amy Campbell hit right through the ball. And as the ball hit the ground, it even kicked on as well. You see that full swing of the bat. And there's the difference between not quite middling it and getting caught out and just clearing that inner field.
Maybe it just suggests that I need to get myself down to
I think I'm at a
Yorktown
different
Centre
angle.
for an optician's
No, I'm
appointment.
a different
You were
angle
very generous there in calling that.
As I'm trying to look between the bar and the glass here at York. It's one of those grounds where you either have to sit up or slouch down to be able to see.
Yeah, in a ground that is surrounded with England shirts. I can't imagine if you're Hannah Rainey, you're a great fan of it. I mean, just played for Scotland in the World Cup. Of course, there's men playing in World Cup game at 5 p.m. after this one's done. Emma Lamb's on. Change of dynamic from the City end with her offies. And Campbell cuts away. It's Jonathan, in fact. Classy shot. Leant back, cut it out of the keeper's gloves. That's the shot of the day so far for me.
That's a super shot. And you just see the class of Jess Jonathan, you know. She makes it look so easy. And, you know, it's not always that easy. It's just fractionally wide, but she keeps her weight on her back foot, keeps her head over the ball, and just caresses it, really, between the field for 4 runs.
She came with lofty expectations, and she somehow surpassed them quite comfortably, Jonathan, who will get one more here. If you were to truly be the nittiest of nitpickers, you'd say that she hasn't quite had the blast campaign with the bat that she has in the 50-over format. She got a 50 at Blaze, and since then, 2 against Surrey, 17 against Somerset, 10 against Essex, 17 against Durham, and 13 against Hampshire. So she's had a run of innings where she hasn't passed 20 in this format. As Campbell will get one here out into the deep.
Yeah, but going back to Jonathan, you know that she's only 1 ball away from another great innings. You know, she's one of those players that she has been very reliable throughout the season. You know, to come to England and play on English wickets is not always that as straightforward.
It's back this time, Jonathan, and it's only half stopped by Rapoli, and so Jones has to do the rest.
Yeah, great backing up from Amy Campbell there because she was already part way there, saw the misfield and came through very quickly for that single.
Yeah, across an innings, you can pinch another 20, 25 runs with that good scampering. Campbell's down the pitch. She got herself in a slightly awkward position, then trying to slog sweep.
I don't mind that in a way because she's showing intent and she came out to meet the ball. So as long as she gets something on it, then she's very safe. And if she does get hold of it, it's definitely a boundary.
Well, Campbell's completely sliced this, but there's no conventional mid-on, so she might get away with it. She does, my goodness me. That is a bit of luck. There was mid-off running around, there was long-on running in, and neither of them could quite get there to actually have a chance of taking it. So 29 for 1. Lamb has come back really well there after the first ball of the over went for 4.
Yeah, that's one of those shots when you're at the non-striker's end, you go well placed, because it was not a greatly executed shot, but it fell safe, and all you need is your partner to hang around. It's all about partnerships when you start playing these games, and if you can build a partnership with your colleague out there, your batting partner out there, then that helps the team score. And it's not just a question of one player, it's 2 people at a time, and that's the team nature of batting.
And it's going to be dual off spin for Lancashire. Fee Morris, a massive part of what turned Lancashire from being a side in the Thunder regional era, and even the Thunder KSL era, of not really getting near knockout part of competitions too, of course, being double champs last season. The very first ball is smeared away by Campbell. Jonathan started setting off, and a direct hit she might have gone, but as it was by the time the ball was hurled in, even if Morris had taken the bails off, I think the Australian had made it back, but that's a nervy moment for Campbell and Jonathan.
Yeah, that's what you don't want. You don't want a silly run out at any stage, but particularly in the power play.
Down the track, confident shot. First 6 of this Roses T20 from Campbell. Met it on the half volley and gave it the 4 beans, all the kitchen sink. Morris with that tempting flight. Campbell was happy to take the temptation.
This is the best shot that Amy Campbell's played, and she almost does it disdainfully. Just look at her here. She hits it and she's like, yeah, well, that's gone. I don't need to do anything now. I don't need to run. Just watch. And it's like, yep, that's gone. I'm just going to watch it.
Very nonchalant. As spinners often do, Morris tries to fire it in quicker and flatter, but this has been belted down the ground.
Ah, brilliantly fielded.
That's a lovely bit of work to just hook it back. I believe it was cross out there with her typically excellent standards.
Yeah, great fielding, because that was it was a good, well-driven shot straight. There was half a chance if you'd been superstar, a superwoman, following through.
What does Morris do now? Morris goes even quicker and even flatter, and it thuds into the pads of Campbell. Fee Morris, who the first season she signed for Thunder from Western Storm, was no doubt Lancashire's player of the season as they finally got to a finals day. Got eliminated by the Vipers semis, or what was the eliminators. Campbell comes down the track. That one's a little bit of an ugly heave, but it's all part of the nature of looking to be attacking in the power play. It looks glorious when it sails over long on's head for 6. It doesn't look as good there.
Yeah, and obviously Amy Campbell has been given a game plan and been told what her role is, and it looks to me like she's been told to go out there and play a shot, so that's what she's trying to do.
Again, quicker and flatter from Morris, who seems to be getting quicker and flatter with every delivery here, but that is down leg, and it's quite good work from Frelkel to make sure it doesn't go away for anything more than one wide. There's a reason why Sarah Taylor once said that Ellie Frelkelder's got the best hands in the country.
Yeah, she's a great wicketkeeper. I'm not going to back it just because Sarah Taylor said that. She is a very good wicketkeeper, and that's another 6 all the way.
Sweep shot, slog sweep from Campbell, who has taken Morris for 2 in that over, which ends up going for 16. And so having lost one early, Yorkshire recovering magnificently, particularly through Campbell. It's the first ball in a while where Morris had decided to give it a bit more flight, and it disappears a long, long way. So Campbell has now got 26 off 13.
It looks like we're having a look at the ball. The ball must have hit something fairly hard and robust, and the umpires are now checking for a ball of similar length of use for 4 overs. No.
Yeah, always not a simple one in terms of trying to pick out something equivalent. Your umpires today, Mohammed Wasim and Suri Shanmugam. It's Shanmugam who is in the box of balls, brought on by Hannah Jones. And it's another bowling change. Lancashire keeping going with 1 each per over so far.
Yeah, this is very much a modern day thing to do, where you have 1 over and then keep changing the bowlers. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, you'd definitely have had at least 2 overs each. Now it's 1 over, and you don't want the batters to get used to the flight of the ball, the pace of the ball, so you just want to keep mixing it up.
So Sophie Morris, not to be confused with Fee Morris, and not sisters, for those unfamiliar, with her left arm tweakers. First ball is just helped away by Jonathan. Didn't try and hit it too hard, but knew where her gap was. 48 for 1.
Yeah, this is a great shot from Jonathan, and it's quite standard for her. I've seen her play that shot many times this summer already, but she plays it with such aplomb. You know, it's just like consistently good. She keeps her head over the ball and hits it down as well.
Op's a little bit shorter. And he's not going to get away with a delivery like that to Jonathan. So it's a bit of a nervy start from Morris, who's under immediate pressure. The 50 comes up for Yorkshire. 52 for 1 after 4.2.
Yeah, great start by Yorkshire. And Lancashire will start to be a bit nervous at this stage because they'll want to keep the runs down or take the wickets. And taking wickets brings down runs, as that's played very sensibly. Defended out to the cover region by Jess Jonathan.
It's a shot that's got almost a test match feel about it from the Aussie. There is, of course, one coming up pretty soon. Jonathan this time more aggressive again, looking to access that area, and it was a bit of a watch the spin. All's well that ends well for Seren Smell. Spin almost taking it past her to her left.
Yeah, they're not easy to field, those ones, because once you've played a bit, you know they're going to spin, and you're just hoping it doesn't spin past your outstretched hand, and Seren Smale did very well there to keep it in play.
So Campbell facing up to Sophie Morris for the first time. She took 3 for 23 3 days ago against Warwickshire. Campbell will take 1 to long on. Sophie Morris very much a product of the Lancashire Thunder Academy and Upton Cricket Club as well. Took a 5 for at Blackpool last year against Durham. Jonathan straight at cover. So at this point, after that flurry of boundaries, even just a couple of quiet deliveries, welcome relief for the visitors. But Yorkshire will be very content with how they sit, having been put in. A 54 for 1 off 5 on a pitch that the ground staff feel like will be decent for the batters. I'm reliably told that across 2 games last weekend, 50 over games, there was 1,200 runs scored across those 250 over games. So it was pretty much averaging about 300 an innings.
I bet the bowlers enjoyed that, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And that pitch was actually the pitch just to the left of where we are that is currently covered by an AstroTurf matting. But that pitch was another fresh pitch, not one of the hybrid pitches, and it was prepared in the same way as this one.
Nice.
So it does point to the fact that we think that it's probably going to be quite a high-scoring game here as Cross comes back for her second over. And she swung away for 6 through deep backward square. Great shot from Campbell. It's a bit of a party trick she's got. She's not afraid to sweep against the quick bowlers, but that is some statement of intent against one of the greats of the game.
Yeah, what a shot that is. We'll see here. Amy Campbell just absolutely smokes it over the boundary. She sees it coming. It's in her area, and she just picks it up, and you can see Kate Cross is like, right, I've got to do something else here. I came around the wicket. I'm now going to come over the wicket and try and change the line on her so she doesn't get the same angle.
Well, this time goes through extra cover. That's a shot of real authority. So Cross has gone for 10 in 2 balls here. And it's hands on hips time for Lancashire skipper Frelkeld, Lancashire Thunder, with some real thinking to do.
Yes, and that's the last 2 overs that both first 2 balls have gone for boundaries, and that's, from a batting perspective, it means you can relax a little tiny bit, but there's no relaxing here because that's smoked again. And that's gone straight into the pint of lager.
That's smashed on somebody's drink over.
Somebody's looking a little bit perturbed. I've lost my drink. It's just gone straight off the table.
There is a little bit of a lesson in the sense that if you are at the cricket, do try and keep your eye on the ball. Thankfully, nobody's harmed.
It's knocked the glass off the stem.
Yeah.
It's one of those
we can all have a giggle about it because nobody's hurt. But there is a gentleman who looks very, very surprised that a cricket ball has just struck him when he is sat a good, maybe only 4 metres beyond the boundary. He obviously hasn't seen Amy Campbell bat because
he's going
he's
to
right in Amy Campbell's...
refill his glass or get a new glass now, has it no longer has a base to it.
Yeah, we'll find out later on if Amy Campbell gets charged for that refilling of the glass. Being sarcastic, of course. Cross is under big, big pressure now. 16 off 3. Does Campbell go again? You'd think so. She does. And that's going to be 4 more as well. That's almost gone for 6 through fine leg. But Cross isn't figuring this out here. She's bowling into the hitting arc of Campbell, who is saying everything must go. It's a foot down leg.
Yeah, she's seen it like a football at the moment, isn't she? And just we're into World Cup season, and she's just hit that one very cleanly down fine leg.
So 20 off 4. And that's going to run away for more runs to the boundary, and it is signalled as leg byes. So it won't go and cross his figures, but it's hurting Lancashire nevertheless. The over's gone for 24 with 1 ball left of it.
Wow, what an over this is for Yorkshire and Lancashire. But conversely, you know, it's one of those big overs that changes the tone of a game. It puts Lancashire very firmly on the back foot, and Yorkshire are on the front foot at 78 for 1 in the 6th over.
So deep square leg and deep mid-wicket out now for Campbell with a 5-4 field.
She'll go for a slower ball, won't she?
That's what the field would signpost. I think Campbell will keep being aggressive. No, she stands tall and hits it on the top of the bounce, but straight at extra cover. So it's a welcome dot for the visitors to finish the 6th over at the end of it. 78 for 1 then. So 20 goes down on Cross's figures. She's conceded 31 off 2. And Yorkshire are going at 13 and over in what is the first of 2 T20 meetings between these sides. They'll play each other on Friday the 10th of July. That's part of a Roses double header. Men and the women both meeting at Old Trafford. For now, Lancashire turn to one of their great young hopes and one of the great stories of the season so far, Venus Wirapuli, who is fresh-faced, energetic, enthusiastic, and highly skillful. She's played her way into being a regular in this team. She has 7 wickets at an average of 19 in the Blast, and she's gone at 7 and over, which you can't ask for much more than that for a spinner. She's been Lancashire's second most economical bowler in the competition. She can turn the ball both ways. Lovely control, all the natural gifts that make you really excited to see what she can do. She's bowling to Campbell, who is pumped up and flying along. I beg your pardon, just bowling to Jonathan, who helps it around the corner to square legs. Will now be bowling to Campbell.
It's interesting, both left-handers, but both have completely different styles, and you can see, even from the backswing, which batter it is that's facing. And Jess Jonathan knows that she just needs to support and give Campbell the strike here. With her striking as she is, it will add to the team total.
Campbell 47 off 20, needs a boundary for her 50. And might have gone trying to get there. She has. Venus Wirapuli again makes the difference for Lancashire. She's been magnificent this season, and it's Wirapuli who makes the breakthrough. 79 for 2 then. This partnership that's been worth a rapid 63 for the second wicket is split apart.
But, you know, Campbell has played an innings there. She's played what Yorkshire would want her to. She's gone out. We're only in the 7th over, and she hit a rapid 47. And so she shouldn't be disappointed with that. She perished trying to do what she's done all the way through, and it's a good innings and a good knock by Amy Campbell, putting Yorkshire in a very strong position as the experienced Lauren Winfield-Hill comes out to join the experienced Jess Jonathan. So this is a good place to put it.
A bit of context on that innings from Campbell. It's her highest score for Yorkshire this season. She made 34 off just 18 balls in the County Cup third round defeat against Somerset a few Sundays back on the 21st of June. She, before that, had made a best of 30 against the Blaze in the Blast. So she'll take a lot of confidence from that innings, Amy Campbell, and there's definitely signs for Yorkshire that she's just starting to get back towards her best and starting to find the form that saw her be so destructive last season. But great credit yet again to Venus Wirapuli, who is showing exactly why She's one of the most exciting young spinners in the country, and she's now going to have a crack at Lauren Winfield Hill, who made 65 at almost 2 a ball in the County Cup defeat and made 39 against Hampshire a few days ago. So Winfield Hill's in good form. Winfield Hill has almost edged that to point. Lovely flight and go, and it's taken on the bounce.
Yeah, lovely ball here. It's just got the right flight, and because she's putting lots of revolutions on it, there's that dip just as it comes to the batter. You can see her spinning it before she comes in to bowl it.
And gets it up above the eye line. And Winfield Hill whips that away for a single to get her off the mark. Just giving a little bit of a signal down there to Jonathan, who, like everyone, as one player on the circuit told me, a bit of first season syndrome. You come on the scene and no one knows a lot about you. And that's only helping Rapidly even more.
Yeah, well, she couldn't have more of a challenge than to be bowling to these two now, and she looks like she's capable of doing it. So the batters will need to concentrate as Virapalli comes in again.
Jonathan down the track was almost beaten in the flight there. That will be just one. So
yeah, that dip again. You know, I'm really excited watching this. It's the first time I've seen.
Oh
the youngster.
yeah. You've got a treat in store. Some of you might see on scorecards listed as Vinali, but he's asserted herself when speaking to her before the warm-up that prefers to be called Venus as her first name. Winfield Hill is prodding slightly awkwardly to point, and it's the end of a magnificent over from Venus Virapalli. It takes a wicket, it concedes just one. So at the end of the 7th over, it's 79 for 2. And to lead you through the
81 for 2. Sorry to correct you.
I beg your pardon. I'm glad you're here to keep me sane. The over's gone for 3 then. And here to lead you through the next few overs is Dr. Jane Powell, with Maroof Khan settling in alongside her on summariser duties.
Yeah, and it's interestingly poised at the moment, this game. And Sophie Morris is coming back on from the rugby stand end. And I'm joined by Maroof Khan. Nice to have you here with us, Maroof.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, press. Always the press for us. 81 for 2. Great start.
And that is a great ball from Sophie Morris, who just bowls straight through the gate. Jess Jonathan, I think that might have evaded her on pace as much as anything else.
Yeah, as if on point, they've lost, 2 quick wickets in the last 7 balls. Venus Williams, I call her, sorry, Venus Virapalli, actually, VW, on the other side. And then a shot which was uncalled for, really, from Jess Jonathan. I think, there was a rebuilding exercise that was important at this stage. Clearly, have a very healthy run rate, but losing wickets, not that good, especially watching it from the Kevin Hutchins score box.
Yeah, she played straight all the way around that. Instead of playing straight down the ground, she was already playing it square. I think one of the problems you get is when somebody like Amy Campbell's been in there scoring at over 200% strike rate, then you start to think it's relatively easy, when actually it's not that easy. She just had a little bit of a heyday there where she was middling everything, and the others need to rebuild now, because they're still 81, which is a good score, but they're 3 wickets down.
Yeah, and I think you're right on there on cue as well. I think Clifton Park is also a very high scoring ground. So, the reason why Lancashire have actually won the toss and fielded is because they know that any score could be achieved, and the only way to keep the scoreboard down is take regular wickets, really, and that's what they have done in the last 10 balls.
Yeah, well, they've got that youngster Meg Lanning, haven't they, which is always a fear. There's a typical Sturkallis shot where she rocks back and plays it backwards of point, and you can see that Lancashire have got one just backward of point and one a little bit further round from point, because that's the area she likes to exploit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know how many miles Sturkallis has done in the last 4 weeks, really. She's been up and down the country, representing Yorkshire, and then going for Netherlands in the World Cup, and now coming back for Yorkshire. I think, She's a girl well-travelled.
Yeah, and typically Stoke Alice has been renowned as the player who travels all the time throughout the cricket season. She just loves playing. You know, the player she reminds me the most of is Sachin Tendulkar. I've read stories of him travelling for miles just to have another bat. Huh. A little bit of a nutmeg there. It looked like she was about to be yorked and she just glanced it through her legs out to mid-wicket.
Yeah, interesting stage as well. So, Sophie Morris just putting the ball up there, right on the block hole, really nicely dug out by Stoke Alice. Trickled away towards mid-wicket for a quick run. At this stage, Lancashire, all they're doing simply is just making sure that they're attacking the stumps.
And Winfield Hill plays that calmly out to the covers and there's no run there. And this is a very good over for Lancashire and just the one run from it and 1 wicket. So that's, you'd have to say that Lancashire are turning the tide a little bit there. The last 2 overs have only gone for 4 runs and 2 wickets have fallen.
Yeah, still at the end of 8 overs, 82 for 3, not that bad really. I think the challenge here now is for the skipper to be making sure that they're ringing the changes, making sure that they're not giving more than 8 to 9 runs an over. We've already been about 8 overs into the play. Three good wickets taken by Lancashire. Winfield Hill and Callis have a rebuilding job, at the same time making sure that they keep the scorebook ticking.
And we've got Tara Norris coming back on from the City end. Her first over went for 10 runs, so she'll be looking to build better from there.
And I like this move as well, in a Tara Norris bowling and the keeper standing up for this one. Great set of hands work there.
Yeah, it was very close to that wide line, but it was just inside. And I can see Stoke Alice just staring down the wicket straight at the umpire, but that's not going to make him change his mind. That's helped round into the mid-wicket area for a single. And this is what they've got to do. If they can just keep rotating the strike and build a partnership now, then they'll give themselves a platform and that they can then attack from about the 14th, 15th over.
I've always believed that in T20 you still have more time than you think.
Yeah.
And I think you could easily get carried away by looking at the scoreboard and trying to play too many shots too early. This is a good rebuilding phase. Yorkshire need to apply themselves.
And that's a lovely shot by Lauren Winfield Hill through backward point for 4 runs.
And that right there tells you how good this wicket is, really. You can lay back, she comes on the back foot and just throws a bat at it, beats the point and third region.
Yeah, and the pitch is a good one, as you say, and if you can just evade the fielders, the outfield runs quite quickly. That's whipped round mid-wicket, and that's pierced the field, gone between 2 fielders for another 4 runs there. And another great shot from Winfield Hill. You know, 6 balls in an over. If you got 1 a ball up to 14, 15 overs, you've got a real springboard there, haven't you?
That's right. I think, 1 is mandatory, really, and the odd boundary here and there makes it about 7 to 8 runs an over. 2 boundaries in this over, in this case, is because Easley has taken the score to about 9 runs and over already with 2 balls to go.
And there's some adjustment of the field going on. We've got square leg just moving around a little bit squarer. She may have been backward square. She's now possibly right behind the umpire.
Yeah, it tells me the line is going to be more middle and leg coming towards the waist high, really.
That's good cricket from Winfield Hill, because you've already got 9 runs, have you said, off the over. So you play each ball on its merits. You don't need to force it at this stage.
Once again, a field changing. I guess the fine leg is coming in the circle in the 25 yards, and then the 2 players in deep square leg and deep mid wicket being adjusted. And that's worked to a beauty, really. Lauren Windmill trying to give herself some room, trying to hike it over mid-wicket, doesn't make good contact. And that's another wicket lost.
Yeah, and a little bit frustratingly there, so because you've already scored 9 runs off the over, you don't need to force it at this stage. There's still 11 overs left. There's still 66 balls left. Even one a ball will get you to 156, 160. And you're going to get the odd ball that is a loose ball that you can hit for 4. So you could easily push this score. I think 180 would be par. 200 is possibly what you should be looking for at this stage. But that's a really good catch out there.
Yeah, very good catch. I think the shot was really on, in my opinion. I think, unfortunately, Lauren could not make that contact that she looked for on that ball. And on smaller boundaries and on boundaries which are not big enough, if you don't make good contact, the fielders are in play. And in this case, another wicket lost after being 9 runs taken on that over. It's 91 for 3 after 9.
Yeah, caught well by Seren Smale there. Just caught it and rolled. You'll see on this replay, it goes out there. See Seren Smale takes it and then nice roll there, keeping her hands off the floor but making sure that her elbows don't protrude and the ball doesn't jump out of it. Emma Lamb bowling once again from the rugby stand end.
Yeah, having said that, really, Bryce, it's important to know that whenever the chances have been given to the Lancashire girls, they have taken that.
Yes.
I know the batters have gone aggressive and taken 10, 12 runs and over, in certain cases 24 runs of the over as well. But whenever the chance has come to the fielders, they have made sure that they've made it count, really. And I think that speaks well in terms of the amount of drills and the volumes of fielding that they have done.
Yes, no, they're fielding very well, and adjustment of the field now. Long off comes into mid off, and the extra cover goes out to the boundary. And Sturkallis is sharp enough to realise that, and it's one bounce down the ground, straight over long off for 4 runs.
Yeah, that's the ball which Sturkallis would take it every day. She always waits for it to come on to her. What's the way she works? Wait for it, straight hands, all the way through the line of the ball, nose mid-off is over the top. She just has to clear the mid-off for 25 yards, and that's 4 good, valuable runs. Good shot.
Yeah, good shot, and, you know, good tactical. You know, Lancashire are wanting her to go aerially, but they didn't want her to go so well aerially. So that's why they brought the fielder in, and she did exactly what they wanted her to, but she was too good for them. As she hits that one out to deep square leg for a single.
Yeah, Sturkallis has had a decent World Cup. You know, she had a 47 against Australia and a few 30-40s as well in the region. She's due big runs and Lancashire hoping that she doesn't get them today, but you know she looks to have, as usual, all over this year. She's had a good start.
Good ball there from Emma Lamb, evading the batter Sarah Glenn, who's at the crease. Sarah Glenn works that one down the ground to long on for a single.
Bit of a cat and mouse game now, Price.
Very much so, and this is when cricket's great, isn't it? Where you've got one team trying to outmaneuver the other team to try and break the concentration, get the wickets, and the other team trying to score the runs, trying to work out what the fielder is doing, what the bowler's going to bowl, and it's a good balance as Yorkshire moved to 97 for 4 at the end of the 9th over.
Youngsters are enjoying themselves as well
over,
on the
sorry.
outside. Look at that. Boys are having a fun there, you know, watching the game. Great day for it. They've had a great field day as well, being the flag bearers. Making sure that they are having the most of it. Not sure if it's day off in school, but we'll take it. Comes Venus Verapalli. She's taking a wicket on the first over, comes back again, trying to stem this flow of runs.
Yeah, and that's very well waited for by Sarah Glenn, and just pushes that one out into the offside, and they come through with the single.
Yeah, of all the bowlers on display, Venus seems to be the slowest of the lot, really, through the air, but she gives good revs on the ball. That's why that ball dips. Batters think it's easy to make connection. Not always the case.
That's well waited for by Sturkallis, who just waits on her back foot and punches it out into the cover region for a single.
Yeah, Lancashire Thunder will be happy with this. You know, they're happy to concede the singles. Venus Vertu she looks to be a very tenacious cricketer. She's the one, you know, I think she knows what a skill set's all about, and always attacking the stumps, keeping the batters in play.
There's that gap on that offside again that Sarah Glenn favours and hits it out there, and that's 3 singles, and Yorkshire should be happy with that. They shouldn't start to get panicky or frustrated, because their 100 comes up in the 11th over. We're just into the 11th over and they've scored 100 runs. Now, when do you think we had just 3 overs ago, 1 over of 3 runs and 1 over of 1 run, you know, and these two have already hit 4 runs off this over just by being sensible and hitting it out into the space and running the single. Well watched there by Sarah Glenn, and well bowled. And I love that dip on it, Rufo. I love the fact that the revs are so great that you just think it's there to smash, and then it just drops on you as the batter. You just think, you know, in your mind you're thinking, right, I'm going to hit this one, and all of a sudden it's not there to be hit. And that's good batting by Sarah Glenn. That one's a bit shorter, and she can swing her hands through that one. They're looking for the 2, but the ball's already in its way in. There's only a single there.
I mean, that is really good, brave bowling as well. If you look at the way Venus Vertu has gone about flighting that ball and making sure she is just in keeping the game. I mean, giving 5 runs in that over, not too bad, really.
From the rugby ground end, Fee Morris.
Well, she's changed the game. Not for the first time this season for Lancashire, because before Wirapulli came on, the game was getting away from the Red Rose quite rapidly. And in fact now, you've had 5 overs of cricket where just 25 runs have been scored and 3 wickets have been lost. It's Fee Morris starts a new over with sort of the closest thing a spinner can get to a Yorker almost, that Glenn digs out to point.
And rightly said so as well. I think not many boundaries being considered as well. You know, singles and doubles in T20 format is acceptable.
Morris's first over went for 15 at the expense of Campbell, but she comes back in the game in a very different phase now. They're going to come back for 2 here. It looks a little bit dicey, but Callis is a bit of a whippet between the sticks, so all's well that ends well. Because the ground staff today told me they didn't think spin would necessarily play a huge role in this game on what is a fresh pitch, but as it proved so far is that time Callis wants 1. Glenn had ended up on the floor. Not sure whether that's just losing her balance or that she's actually been hit by the ball there. The way she's grimacing suggests she might have taken one in that awkward spot just past the pad.
Yeah, the way she fell down, I mean, she went down, she couldn't quite come up really that quickly.
It's a bit of a wide Yorker. Lovely stuff from Fee Morris, the experienced campaigner. She's been around a long time. The closest she got to an England game, she played for an England Development 11 in 2024 against the touring New Zealanders. plenty of flight. Glenn, I think, was looking to go straighter than that. Comes slightly off the inside edge for 1 for Glenn, who is 7 off 10.
Yeah, Femore is very smart bowling as well, as if she's playing darts, as making sure everything is straight onto the stumps or just off wide, keeping her field in play all the time.
Yeah, smart is a great word for Fee Morris. Sums her up to a T. That again, pretty similar. Well timed. Bisect the sweepers. Brilliantly fielded by Cross. Throwing on the run. Keeps up those high standards so often.
Fee Morris thought that there was 2 runs on the taking, and she went on the stumps so quickly.
Yeah, Fee Morris was ready for the run out. Stair Callis was busy taking evasive action. As that's the end of the 12th. So Yorkshire 106 for 4 then, with 8 overs left. If they could find a resurgence to get 10 and over from here, that would take them another 80 to 188.
From the city end, Sophie
Realistically, from having slowed down a little in the middle overs, might be looking at 8s here to get them to 170. I'm delighted to say I've got the company of Yorkshire's youngest captain in 100 years from last season. She smiles at me now as if she still can't believe it happened. But how are we, Maddie Ward?
Bit of a change of scenery for me up here.
Morris starts new over in Callis, who loves that inside-out area through the covers. It's a bit of a trademark of hers. It's not the ball to Callis, really. It's in that slot, and away it goes for 4.
Yeah, a bit of flair from Stair there, as you said. A bit of a trademark, big backlift, and off it goes for 4.
She loves a dance against the spinners, doesn't she? It's a bit of her trademark.
Yeah, definitely. She's great against spin. I think she's one person that's really done well for us this year, and coming in at this stage of the game, I think she could be really dangerous.
Yeah, she's ranked as one of the top 10 players of spinners on the UK domestic circuit. I'll come back to that as this one's a little shorter, and Callis has got that away. It possibly should have been stopped in truth. It was half stopped, but not enough for the chasing Jones to try and get after it and keep it in place. So back-to-back boundaries for Callis.
Yeah, lovely shot from Stair there. As we just said, another bit of trademark for her. Bit of frustration from the fielder. Not sure who that is down there, but as you said, probably should stop that one.
It's Emma Lamb at short third. Wonder whether it might have bobbled on her. It's a slightly uncharacteristic error. She was giving the signal that it did. Callis cuts again. That one is straight at Lamb, who does the fielding. That, what I mentioned, is ranked across 5 metrics: your ability to sweep, reverse sweep, contact points against spin, strike rate in the first 10 balls faced, positive impact. As Callis gets this one out to cover points she wants to, but even she won't get it. Positive impact meaning your scoring rate against spin compared to other players in the exact same game. And across those 5 analytical metrics, she's rated as one of the best 10 players to spin around. So handy player to have against what is quite a spin-heavy Thunder team. Glenn this time is pushing out to cover for 1. Glenn hasn't quite found her rhythm here. She's 8 off 12. It's Callis who's looked a bit more fluent of the pair.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't surprise me that Stair's up there with the stats. She's been a huge player for us this season.
Callis goes back and gets this one away for another single. I know when she went away for the Netherlands, well, she didn't really go too far, of course, it being a home World Cup, and she even got to play against India at Headingley. But when she eventually went away, there was the Essex Friday night game where, to everyone's disbelief, she was still just about playing for Yorkshire, and Lauren Winfield-Hill was joking about having to try and lock her up in a box to keep her away from the Dutch camp for as long as possible.
Yeah, we have a bit of a joke. We call her the workhorse. She's sort of here, there and everywhere, playing cricket all the time. Like last year, Tier 1, Tier 2, and obviously a World Cup stint this year. She was a big loss for the girls, I think,
From the
while she was
rugby
away.
ground end, Emma Lamb.
Yeah, it was a friend of mine in the build-up to this one was asking me, "Oh, do you think Stair will be back today?" I was like, yeah, absolutely. If she can walk, she'll be at the ground. There was, of course, this game last season as Emma Lamb starts a new over. First one is a bit too short. She's got away with it. It's thumped out to deep mid wicket. She was here in this game. It was against Leicestershire early season in a 50 over tier 2 match, and she was having a rest. She came and joined us in the commentary box, and she said this was a very alien concept to her, being at a cricket ground but not in fact playing for anybody.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine she was itching to play and very reluctant to have a rest.
Yeah, she was walking Lauren Winfield's dog around the boundary all day. Here's Lamb, and Glenn tries to get unconventional. She's trying to access the gap behind square. She didn't really get hold of it though. Almost scooped up a catching chance.
I don't think that's a bad option for Glennie. Ex-hockey player, so she's quite good at the paddles and the reverses.
It does feel like cricket's full of them. No shortage of hockey crossover. And this time goes a bit quicker and flatter. Cut out for one by Callis. So for those unfamiliar, the reason we've got the pleasure of your company, but you're unfortunately having pretty much, I was going to say you played every game last season?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I thought you did. You and Claudia Cooper, ever presence, and swipes and misses. What's happened? You're in a boot.
I am. Slight bit of misfortune. I've unfortunately got quite a high-grade stress response in my left foot, so out for the season.
Oh dear. That's swept away. Glenn has managed to do what she wanted to do earlier on in the over. She's going to get 4 through backward square, stepping across, finding the gap against Lamb, who had cover more in straight areas. This is smart batting.
Yeah, definitely a lovely shot from Glennie. She's obviously had a look at the field there and seen that there's a gap at backward square. Will help her out there, a bit of confidence.
Yeah, that's probably about 5th stump sort of line, but she's also playing with the turn of Lamb as an offie. It's now for square leg to go out, but covers come up. So now Glenn looks to go inside out, but she's miscued it, and it's a simple catch for Wirrapulli. Not going to drop that one, it's short third. So it's a first wicket of the Roses contest for Emma Lamb, 124 for 4. Sarah Glenn, having hit the previous ball 4-4, has to go for 13 off 16.
Yeah, I'm sure Glennie will be a bit disappointed with that there. Obviously just played a great shot behind square. Unfortunately she has to go.
It was that change in the field that forced a different option
Sarah
from
Glenn
her.
was caught by Venus Wirrapulli off the bowling of Emma Lamb
Kind of got
for 30.
There we go. And she was looking to go through that gap at cover from cover that had come up.
Batting number 7 for Yorkshire, Beth Langston.
Never going to drop that one, Wirrapulli. So out to the crease comes Beth Langston to join Callis. Langston, so far this season in the T20 format, not actually needed to bat all that often, but scores of 7 not out, 6, 17 not out, 5 and 3 not out. A very capable all-rounder.
Yeah, very handy cricketer is Langers. Bat and ball, she never lets anyone down.
Langston in at 7. Carter's got Cooper up at 9 with Rainey and Woolston. There's of course Olivia Thomas, who we'd expect to come out next at 8. A lot of the innings she sends for Yorkshire rests on Stair Callis, who's facing Wirrapulli, and Stair Callis has gone as well. So it's a wicket from the first ball of the new over, and Venus Wirrapulli has got her second of the game, and Callis, who was just starting to accelerate, has got to go. The Dutch maestro out for 22 off 21.
That's a huge wicket for Venus there.
Stara
Be
Callis
disappointing for
was
Yorkshire, as we know
bowled
how
by Venus
dangerous Stair can
Wirrapulli
be at the
for
back end of the
22.
game. But obviously won't have the opportunity to do that today. I think
Callis, sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, quite happy for Venus. She's been around the circuit for a while now, and she's getting to prove how good she is for Lancs.
So it's interesting you said, obviously,
Batting
so
number
us
8 for
as
Yorkshire,
outsiders
Liv
has
Thomas.
burst onto the scene this season, but you're not entirely dissimilar in age. You would have seen a bit of her in second team cricket and academy cricket, is that fair to say, or maybe not?
Yeah, played a lot against her growing up in age groups and academy fixtures. She's always played up, so yeah, a couple of years younger than me, but definitely someone with heaps of talent and potential.
Yeah, it's definitely very easy to see why she's played a couple of years up. It looks like she's got all the box of tricks. Have you had the misfortune of facing her much?
I have. I fear I might be slightly in her pocket, definitely growing up. But yeah, I think she might actually be a Yorkshire girl. She might be from Yorkshire.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, she's got. I'm going to say she's got some roots in Bradford, but Lancashire have managed to snap their talents. We'll pull it into Olivia Thomas. Leg spinner to leg spinner. Thomas respecting what's a good ball to get first up.
Yeah, I think this will be quite a handy situation for Liv. She should know quite a lot about Venus. Obviously played a lot at Lancs together growing up as well, I believe.
Student at Bradford Grammar School. Not a million miles away from here. Wirrapully. That's it. A decent delivery, and not easy for someone like Olivia Thomas, who hasn't had a lot of opportunities to battle time at the wicket at first team level this season. Missed the first half of the season with shin splints. This is her first T20 innings this season since getting 3 against Surrey. It was quite a long while ago now. She's off the mark with 1 to deep cover.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think she had a bit of a stress response in her shin early season, so she spent a bit of time on the sidelines, but definitely someone we're lucky to have back, and it'd be nice to see what she can do with the ball later on.
You sense that she also might enjoy it. Most of the spinners do tend to like bowling from this city end. They feel like there's a bit of tennis ball bounce. There's always a bit in the wicket. Having said, the ground staff told me today, fresh pitch, they didn't think that there would be a lot of turn, but Liverpool is extracting every last bit she can get from the surface. Picked away by Langston. Looking to get maybe 2 between the sweepers, but it's too close to long on. So that's the end of another excellent over from Wirrapully, who has gone for just 10 from her 3 overs. She's picked up 2 wickets as well. So you've got 5 overs left. She's surely going to bowl out. So you've got 4 overs left to find between Norris, Cross, Lamb and the 2 Morrises. Where do you think you'd be looking?
I think I'd definitely go to Kate Cross. I know she got a bit of tap from Campbell earlier on, but definitely got loads of experience and someone that is a key bowler for them. So I'd be looking.
You take 2 from Cross, and then where are you finding your other 2 then, you reckon?
Definitely bowl out Venus. They might look at Sophie Morris. She came back and bowled.
Morris has got 1 more. So if you bowled out Venus and Sophie Morris and 2 of Cross, you've still got to find 1.
Fee Morris.
I think they tend to go to Tara Norris near the death as well.
Yeah.
She's got quite a few variations. Might be handy for them back end.
Fee Morris for now will continue. None for 19 off her 2. But that doesn't quite tell the full story. Her first over went for 15. Her second over, which was in this spell, went for just 4. And starts a new over by being driven for Langston out to deep cover for 1. 5 overs left. What do you reckon? If it's a TV game show, it might be before your time with the red boxes and the blue boxes and a presenter with a questionable shirt. Deal or no deal for those unfamiliar? What might you take if you're Yorkshire? And I'm offering it to you now. Is they want 2 here, but they're not going to get it.
I reckon from this point we want to be looking
4.5 overs.
Yeah, 170. That'd be ideal. I think without a bowling attack, I think we'd definitely be up for defending that.
These 2 have got to think of where they can find boundary options. Mid-off is up. Would be possibly the one, but Morris just digs that in short. They want 2 this time, but 60-metre boundaries all the way round. It's a fast outfield. Pretty hot weather recently, of course. So, in a way, the ball almost travels too fast for you to plink it in the infield for 1. Again, they'll want 2, but I'd be surprised if they get it. They will not. So, Fee Morris will be very happy with this, just ticking things along in singles.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a few ramps and paddles from Liv Thomas when she gets a bit of confidence. They're definitely her go-to shots.
Goes much quicker and flatter. That's one from Morris. It's almost a seam. Really. She's a really, you can see from that replay, it is very much an in-swinger. straight to point, so concludes what is an excellent over from Morris. It concedes just 4, putting the brakes on Yorkshire. So just 4 overs left.
Good over from Fee Morris there. I think she's quite a reliable player for Langs. Gets a few handy runs as well in the middle order. She's been around for quite a while, a lot of experience.
She's part of that generation that has properly seen the evolution from a fully amateur to fully professional women's domestic era.
Looks like they're going to Venus again here, I think, for her final over.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. 2 for 10 off her 3.
Great figures, especially for someone that's not played too much first team cricket.
Venus
Clash as well. I think she'll be more than happy with that.
Yorkshire Brains trust of Chris Bryce, Kevin Sharp and Richard Pirate in shot there. Yorkshire was 78 for 1 off the power play, but since then Lancashire have fought back magnificently. We're a pulley, who's been the star of the day. Starts with a dipping one, the dips and gets Thomas LBW. Well, that is vintage leg spin. It's the dip that does for Olivia Thomas there. And it looked pretty adjacent, so Thomas has to go for just 3. Another one bites the dust, and Wirrapulli has 3 to her name.
She's been absolute quality today. She's putting it on the spot. Seems that we really haven't found a plan against her yet, I don't think. Lovely bit of flight and dip there. I don't think Liv can
Batting
argue
number
with
9
that
for
one.
Yorkshire, Claudie Cooper.
She's got all of the boxer tricks. It's one of those balls, a leg spinner bowls, where for a moment you think, oh, it's a massive full toss. And it absolutely is not. So Claudie Cooper comes out at 9. Something of a promotion for her. She spent pretty much all her Yorkshire career at 11 or 10, but with Jess Woolston and Hannah Rainey in the side, she gets a chance to make an impact.
Yeah, I don't think that does Claudie much justice at 11. She's another handy player to have down the order. Another hockey player. I think she'll be looking to maybe take Venus over extra cover if she can.
Yeah, no, once upon a time she was pretty good with the drag flicks, which if you can drag flick, you can probably hit a cricket ball, as Cooper will get 1 here down to fine leg. She, of course, was on a winter batting camp as well in India with Erin Thomas and Rich Pyre, as well as pre-season in South Africa, was getting her air miles in while improving her skills.
Yeah, I think her and Erin got a lot out of that, so it'd be good to see if she can put some of that into practice against Venus here.
Langston is a senior player of the two. Could do with a little cameo out of someone. Langston will get 1 here. Brings on to strike Cooper, who last season got a best of 24 not out off 19 in the game at Northampton in Tier 2. She's not really had an opportunity this season to get a score like that, because generally has been coming in at 11 with not much company. A lovely dip from Venus Wirrapulli, who just a joy to watch live. It's the second time I've had the pleasure of seeing all the gifts that she's got. It's a name you're going to be hearing a lot over the years. Cooper slog sweeps, commits to the shot well. We'll get a single.
Yeah, nicely played from Claudie. I won't be surprised if the message is to play a natural game and just give it a bit of long handle. See if she can get a few boundaries and put a dent into this Lancashire side.
Well, you'd say the game inside a game now for Yorkshire has got to be to cross 150 first. But they'd still hope to get past that. The runner ball would do it.
I think Lancs have pulled it back really well with the ball, especially the spell from Venus. I think if you're looking at it from the start, we'd be on for a lot more than we actually have. So credit to them.
So Venus Wirrapulli completes her spell. It is an outstanding spell. She finishes with figures of 4 overs, no maidens, 13 for 3.
Could be a game-changing spell, that, depending on how the rest of the game goes for Yorkshire.
So 3 overs left. A runner ball exactly now would mean that Yorkshire would finish up with 151. Lamb
From
is
the
back.
rugby
They've
ground end,
definitely
Emma
taken
Lamb.
the decision, Lancashire Thunder, that spin is doing the trick today. They might just round the entire innings out with spin. Morris won't quite bowl out yet, as Lamb is turned around away by Cooper for one, who she must have some of the most dedicated family members in terms of the level of support that she has, Claudia Cooper. And I know that's quite a, that's quite a thing to say, because family members sacrifice so much for anyone in a household to become a professional athlete. Because again, it's another single.
Yeah, her parents are great to have around. They love the cricket, love a bit of a social. Yeah, I love the Coopers. Two very funny people.
Olivia and Mark. I know she finds it like any person in their 20s finds that terribly embarrassing. But Cooper wants one here, but that's straight at short fine leg. But she's a Surrey girl initially. For those unfamiliar, joined Yorkshire from Surrey at the start of last season, and it was a big move for someone relatively young, moving halfway across the country. Cooper will get one out to deep cover, and they are still very much based there, but travel for pretty much every game, which is quite the effort.
Yeah, they do a lot of miles. They love it. I think as much as Claudia might come across as embarrassed, she loves it too, I reckon.
Oh, of course. Want people backing you. So that's down the ground. Going to take one direct hit, and it's gone. Oh, and that was close from Norris. Very close from Norris, almost getting Langston. At this stage of the innings, you can understand why Yorkshire had to take it on. That replay only tells you so much. It would have been very tight.
Yeah, direct hit, and I reckon Langus was gone there.
Let's come off the trusty bottom edge. Cooper's going to get at least one here. Will in the end come back for two. Two is all that they will get. So end of the 18th over. 141 for 7. Thank you very much to Maddie Ward for her company. We look forward to doing this again very soon.
Thank you very much.
And Marif Khan will settle into the seat alongside. Thanks again to Maddie, who generally is much more often seen out on the grass for Yorkshire, but unfortunately stress injury means
From
that
the city end,
she's out for the
Sophie
rest of the
Morris.
season. But 2 overs left then. 139 for 7, and we've kind of seen Marif Khan in innings of two halves, really. There's been the power play game and there's been the everything else game.
Yeah, unfortunately, the everything else is happening far too often.
Langston comes down the track. And I'm guessing you're going in the direction, we talked about it before, but losing wickets in clumps has been a theme of Yorkshire's season.
Yeah, and I think they've tried the best, and Yorkshire has tried to change the batting order as well to see if they can stem that tide.
So that's gone through. Frelkelder's frustrated. Could be wides, this. I think it is. Yep, it's 5 wides. Well, that is a freebie from Lancashire, who've been so disciplined, so impressive with the ball.
Yeah, just a dart down the left side. Yeah, just got away from the keeper as well. 5 runs, very much needed for Yorkshire at this stage.
It's the first time the ball's gone to the boundary in 27 balls. So it's not a 4 off the bat, but it's a boundary of some kind nevertheless, as Langston digs that one out.
No, I think I have to mention that girl Venus Verapelli here. I think the stage that she came on to bowl, it was 80 for 1.
Langston drives magnificently, just as we were speaking about there being quite a while since the last boundary. Gets a half volley and puts it away.
Yes, just to finish on that, coming in at 80 for 1 and finishing off with 3 for 13 of 4 overs. Taking the game by its horns. Really great shot there again from Beth Langston. Use of feet, very much valuable gold dust runs at this stage.
Langston trying to give Yorkshire something to fight for. That's straight at cover. Total to confident defending, because you would have to say that the wicket doesn't really look like it's got a lot of demons in it.
It's a beautiful batting track. The first 6 overs showed us that.
Langston tries to just paddle this round the corner. Won't be wided, so maybe it just took a little flick off something on the way through, as on what's generally been quite a nice sunny day. Suddenly the clouds have taken over and have got us reaching for a jumper. On the track from Langston, acrobatic fielding by Morris off her own bowling.
And credit to Lancashire as well. They actually, the Lancashire Thunder were stuck with it. They really stuck with it. And I was mentioning to Dr. Jane Powell on other comms as well that, you know, whenever a chance has come to the girls, they have taken it. They have not dropped those chances. They have kept themselves in play with the fielding, etc. as well. And kudos to them. They've stuck with the game plans of just keeping the stumps in play and having the right fielders in the right areas. And then they have 149 runs to defend of 7 wickets taken. That's phenomenal. That is great comeback by Lancs, especially when it was
from the rugby ground end.
15 runs and over.
Well, so this is the thing. I was going to say, this is like one of those questions that Andy Zaltzman gets given on TMS that's almost impossible to answer. But Fee Morris comes back to finish things off and starts with a dot. Typically excellent fielding off her own bowling. It cannot be that often that a side has batted the full 20 overs and they've not managed to double their score from what they had at the end of the power play. That's what might be about to happen here.
Oh, shot.
So that's hit slightly inside out from Langston. Gets Yorkshire past the 150 mark in style. One of the best shots we've seen all day. Comes down the track, meets it on the half volley. Beautiful.
Great shot. Walks right into it. Beautiful batting again. Fielders are up, mid-off, and covers are up. All she has to do is make a good contact, drive through the line of the ball. That's what she does. And those 4, again, gold dust runs for Yorkshire.
So covers come up and long off has gone back now. Does Langston respond? She chooses to go inside out. Well, that's a filthy ball. That's a horrid full toss, and she's really got away with that. It goes down to square leg on the bounce.
That ball threw her by surprise, really. She was not expecting that ball coming waist high. She didn't know what to do with it, really, but Langston, and then just shovels it all the way past the deep square leg for a single. Disappointment all round.
Just 3 legitimate balls left then. That's one of them. On between the sweepers, they want 2, but they won't take it. So Langston on to strike. 78 for 1 then off the 6 overs of the power play. And Yorkshire now 155 for 7 with 2 balls left. So they need 1 to exactly double what they had at the end of the 6 overs. 1 is what they will get here. 2 again would have been a certain run out.
Wow. Double the score after 12 more overs after that. Incredible. Really incredible. But credit to Lancashire Thunder girls as well. They've really stuck to the task. Last ball coming up.
This is up and over the covers. It's clever. It's inside out. That's where the gap was. And a great bit of fielding. Flicked back just about okay. Well, it's interesting. The field is almost looking slightly uncertain and signalling for. I have to say, from the naked eye,
I
thought it was 100% saved. There's almost a level of honesty that makes you wonder whether it's actually correct. But anyway, Cooper's got something. And at the end of the innings, what is for sure is that Lancashire will be much the happier given the pattern of the game and where things were. We are still awaiting full and final confirmation as to what that last ball was.
Oh, as if on cue, the gentleman with the hat blocks our view as well.
Yeah, the perfect place for the hat. Oh, if you could give us another couple of replays of that, that would be great, just to have a quick look at.
We need Google AI here to see what's happening next.
So here we go. Scooped over. Must say, in real time, we thought this was a good boundary save, but the fielder actually has signalled it as 4. Oh, I think it has gone for 4. Yeah, that would. And so on second look, it has gone for. And the fielder just after that point signalled it to be 4. But what it has actually officially gone down as, might even need to double check with the scorers. Anyway, 159 for 7, based on the information we currently have. Beth Langston finishing with 17 out from 20 balls. Maroof Khan will take a well-earned break, settling into the seat alongside me for a bit of a mid-inning. Is Joel Smith to talk about her book sums up what cricket means to people across the community of Yorkshire, and this strange old sport that all of us find ourselves glued to, involving people trying to hit a small ball over a rope with a stick.
Absolutely. Or a
we
stick
wish-
of rhubarb, as Jeffrey says.
Yeah,
as well, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, I'm sure you'll be terribly modest about it, but we are speaking to a Yorkshire, Middlesex, and England legend, a World Cup winner in 1993, a World Cup runner-up in '88 under Dr. Jane Powell's team at the MCG, and then a World Cup winner at Lords, which of course England will be hoping that's a story that repeats itself in
Absolutely, that would
a
be
different
amazing.
format on Sunday. But in terms of you and the book, like, tell us about what motivated you to do this, because a lot of cricket books tend to focus on one very specific part of the game,
Yeah.
but you actually look to take a much broader approach.
Absolutely. So this, Michael, is my way of trying to give something back to the game that gave me a fantastic journey. As you've just said, I had an amazing career with England, Yorkshire, Middlesex, made lifelong friends who I still see today. I was at the Oval for the semi-final yesterday with a couple of my ex-England colleagues and had a great day out and a great reminisce. So I've had a fabulous journey, and I wanted to give something back to Yorkshire, which is where my journey started, as well as nationally to the Cricketers' Trust. So there's two books. One is what Yorkshire cricket means to me, and the other is what cricket means to me. And they're both follow the same concept. There's a photograph of the person involved, taken by my colleague Neil Brinston, who is a photographer I met at my golf club, actually. And then we asked each of those individuals to give us 300 words of what cricket means to them, how it's impacted their life, the friendships they've made, the sense of belonging that they've had, the confidence that they've grown through playing cricket. And there's lots of stories in there from, just mentioned Geoffrey Boycott, David Gower, Jonathan Agnew, through Clyde Cooper, Amy Campbell, who batted superbly there opening up, didn't she, today? Charlotte Edwards in the women's game, through to disability cricketers, young cricketers, Lords Taverners, ambassadors, and even my sister-in-law who makes the teas at Kildale Cricket Club. And just how cricket has impacted those people's lives. There are many, many stories in there. One is a young guy, Charlie Francis, who's a Lords Taverners ambassador, who at 14 was being bullied at school, had ADHD, PTSD, and admits himself he was in a really, really dark place and not in a great place. His parents were trying to get him to go to school. He wouldn't go to school, and he ended up being taken to Super Ones cricket by the Lords Taverners ambassadors. And he said that's where he just suddenly found his place. He found friendships. He found kids with similar issues to his own that he could confide in, share interests in, and know that he wasn't alone, basically, and find a sense of belonging. Not just the cricket, but chatting to his pals afterwards. And, you know, that's a great story. And Charlie now goes round the House of Lords telling people about his cricket. He does Lords Taverners talks about his cricket, and he's a young, confident young man now. And if cricket can do that for folk, isn't that just amazing?
And I guess that's everything that comes with playing a sport, right? It's the mental health benefit, the life skills, and a connection to a community.
Absolutely. And I think in cricket, you know, I'm biased, but I do think in cricket we spend, you know, the batting innings, hopefully sitting on the sidelines, chatting through a few things. We celebrate our successes on the pitch together, catching and bowling, taking wickets, and we celebrate good innings. But we're there for 8 to 9 hours a day, aren't we? And afterwards in the bar or in the tea room, we talk through the game, and we share. I used to find that I used to share a lift to the ground regularly with my Yorkshire teammates, Helen Plimmer, Claire Taylor, and we would chat about all sorts. And we probably told each other things we wouldn't tell our parents because there were sensitive issues at the time, and you get that sense of friendship that, like I said earlier, it stays with you and is with me today, that I've you know, I've had that fantastic career, got those lifelong friendships. And, you know, we've got a fantastic crowd here at York today. There'll be a lot of people out there that are cricketers, probably come along with a couple of people from their club, have lots of good memories about, John, do you remember when you hit a six like Amy Campbell like that? And
I think for some of us that's just a distant dream, but I know what you mean.
And it's just that, I call it the cricket family. And I think we all have kind of those kinds of memories, whether we're club cricketers, county cricketers or international cricketers.
And it's funny you say that because this feels even more pertinent with it being a Roses clash today, but a good friend of mine is Jen Thompson, who played for Lancashire a little while back now, and then also Ali Byrne, who captained Lancashire and Cheshire a little while before that. And one thing they both talked about is you know, this is back in the days where the county championship was a week in Cambridge.
Yes, that's right.
Sleeping in churches, sleeping
Yes.
in hostels, sort of the entire, as Ali Byrne would say, pretty much the entire Lancashire team being carried down in 2 cars.
That's right.
And actually, one of the things with the sport is because it's so long, it just bonds you in a slightly different way. And I know Lancashire have done a lot to their great credit to really bring the retired players even further back into the fold. And a few years ago, they had one of these events at Old Trafford, and Jen was telling me, you know, went and met up with all of those old teammates. And actually, there's definitely some sports where an event like that can feel a little bit cursory and performative. And she was just telling me about how actually those bonds stay. And there's people you literally haven't seen them for 15, 20 years, but you spent so much time together that just does not leave you. And you reconnect, and it's like you were never away.
Yeah. So, I mean, exactly that in the same way, Michael, in terms of Yorkshire. When Jane arrived as president, she did a magnificent job for the women in getting us retrospective caps. And also getting a Yorkshire Players Day for women, and we now have one for women, and we have a mixed one with the guys as well, which is fantastic. I think all for getting all of us together as well. But we do through that, and I've met, I hadn't probably seen Jane for about 10 years when I first came to the first one, and I just wanted to start help doing that. And last year, Amanda Stinson, now Garrard, England wicketkeeper in 1987. Hadn't seen her for 30 years.
30 years,
and
wow.
we played in the Australia series in 1987 that was in this country. She was England wicketkeeper, had an amazing series with our left arm spinner Jill McConway. And do you know, we sat in the stands at Headingley, and we could tell each other little stories from that 86 and 87 tour. And have a good giggle, and I think those are the kind of friendships that are built in the same way as your pals from Lancashire as well. I think you are absolutely right. It's that bond, and that, you know, if anybody in our circle of Yorkshire, England, even just in general county cricket, is ill or we hear of something, we get that envelope around them straight away. Our great friend Debbie Stock was in the '93 World Cup with us. Recently had breast cancer, and the number of people that have been in touch with Debbie, looking out for her, how they could help her and keeping her spirits up, and she's had some good news recently, but that's what the cricket family does, I think.
I want to make sure I've asked you this, because it is an important question. How do people buy the books?
Excellent.
Like, here, get the plug in
So,
before we keep talking about all sorts.
So both books are for charity. Every single penny goes to the Yorkshire Players Association for the Yorkshire Book, to the Cricketers Trust for the National Book, the Trust Book. That's because the NFU Mutual, other insurance companies are available, has sponsored the print runs for the books, so that we can give every penny to charities. And if you Google what cricket means to me, the website comes up. Both books are available on there, and post and package and etc. all done, and we get them out within 48 hours usually. So Any birthdays coming up for anybody who loves cricket, get on there and get one bought. You're donating to a great cause. Every single penny, except postage and packaging, is donated to Yorkshire Players Association, the Cricketers Trust.
The umpires are heading out for the run chase, but I have got time to ask you one last question, which is something that I've spoken to quite a few players about from previous eras. Was there any part of you that could have conceived of the world that we sit here in now, in terms of it's just the second fully professional Roses meeting, the first in a T20 format.
Yeah.
We're here at York. There is a good at least 500 in the ground.
Yeah.
In fact, looking around, it's
Yorkshire.
probably more
Probably
pushing,
more, yeah,
more
definitely.
pushing four figures past 1,000.
Yeah.
We're not even an England game, and it's two fully professional sets of players. You don't have to any second job, any second life to worry about in quite the same way.
For Lancashire Thunder.
Just how unattainably, what would a younger Jill Smith have thought if you were fast forwarded to being shown a bit of this world?
I think this was a very, very distant dream, and I don't think I would have thought we'd have hit it by now. But I think we've had loads of great people in the game that have got us to this position. We've had some great coverage from media, yourselves. I mean, media world's changed the whole game as well.
TMS, love
Yes,
that for you.
yes, yeah. And satellite television, we get the women's overseas tours covered, whereas we had 2 lines when we were overseas in the Daily Mail or something when we came back. But no, I don't think I could have conceived it in my lifetime. But isn't it just fantastic? And good luck to them all. And from what I've seen, they're all making the very best of it, and I hope they just enjoy it as much as we did, even though they're paid.
Interesting you say that, because of course there's a pressure that comes with professionalism as well. Jill Smith, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
That is the voice of Jill Smith, England from 1986 to 93, World Cup runner-up in 88, World Cup winner in 93. Great to get her thoughts and readings on those 2 books, which she detailed how you can go and get them all for some fantastic causes. And in alongside me comes a skipper in that 88 final. It's a little-known ground called the Melbourne Cricket Ground, that some of you might have heard of. When England, unfortunately, got the silver.
We came
against
second.
Australia.
Yeah, we came second.
Jess Jonathan starts the first over of the reply with one that beat the outside of Jones's bat. That one's cut straight to Woolston. 161 the target on a pitch that's thought to be a pretty good batting track here at York. Yorkshire still winless in the Blast this season. Only actually won 1 from 11 since they beat Lancashire at Old Trafford, and Lancashire get their first boundary of the reply, just a little bit short from Jonathan. Jones rocks back on it, just guides that through point for 4.
Yeah, nice shot from Jones there, and I think that's a mark of this pitch that we've seen all through the day, that if you can pierce the inner ring, it's going to run away.
Jonathan adjusts her length nicely. Jones wanted 1. Won't get it there.
Interesting start going with Jonathan to open the bowling. She is very good, obviously, but it's you're caught in 2 minds. What is Yorkshire's plan here?
Want a quick single here. It's a well-judged quick single from Eve Jones, a prolific run churner Jones, long-time England A captain. And I know Lancashire were absolutely delighted to pinch her off Sparks at the back end of the regional era in 2024.
Yeah, I think Eve Jones was one of those that Yorkshire were interested in as well at the same time, and
Yeah, they certainly were.
she managed to nip across the border to the Red Rose. But
Well, she'd already played, it wasn't technically for Lancashire, but she'd already played up at Lancs in a previous era, and she said that was one of the reasons why it felt like a natural fit to go back there. Already had friends and connections there, as Winfield Hill is sniffing his stumping. That's a nice start to Meg Lanning. Aussie versus Aussie here. 2 players who in another world, it's not inconceivable at all that they could be playing for this Australian team as they try and win the World Cup. But as it is, they're here for your viewing delight at York. End of the first over of the reply, 5 without loss.
Yeah, and they were teammates for a number of years, and Lanning will know exactly what Jonathan can do, but knowing what somebody can do and batting against it are two different things. There's many players I used to bat against thinking I know what they're going to do, but you just couldn't. It's a bit like Weerapoola, that you know, you think you can hit it and all of a sudden you're not quite there, and the same thing could be happening there. But now we've got a bit of seam coming on from the rugby stand enders. Hannah Rainey has the ball in hand.
She's bowling into the wind, which has really whipped up as that first innings went on. So Jonathan is bowling with the wind, Rainey somewhat into it. Scotland international. She starts with a shorter one that's just watched around the corner by Jones for one. Of course, Australia into the World Cup final. And I know some Beth Mooney, after that win against West Indies, was talking about them feeling like it's breaking a mini hoodoo by them being through to the final, which of course feels so bizarre to hear them say, because still for a good while everyone's looked at any major tournament and thought who might beat Australia, but forget that it is, by their high standards, a little while since they've quite been on top of the world, but hope to take glory this Sunday. Rainey, of course, had an excellent World Cup for Scotland, a late call-up after the injury to Abdahar Maqsood. Short, almost gets the edge of Lanning. There is a bit of a tentative appeal, but didn't seem totally convinced.
Yeah, I think it was more in hope than in absolute certainty, you know, and it's one of those that you're bowling against one of the legends of the game, a current legend, and she just took a waft at it, and it gave people a lot of excitement.
All this time, and Lanning just opens the face and guides it away. There's only slip behind square on the offside. First boundary of the game for Meg Lanning.
Yeah, she just opens it, quite rightly, as you say, Michael, just opens the face, and she knows there's no third man down there. There's only a first slip. If you get that wide enough, you're pretty safe, and you've got 4 runs.
One of her calling cards, Lanning, her ability to manipulate the ball into gaps. It's one thing having the shots, it's another thing how to find the spaces. Again, Lanning opens the face in a slightly different way, but it's the same result, so it's 4 more. And you'd have to say that Yorkshire have surely got to rethink this field.
Yeah, and it should be the bowler, as that one, the first slip has been moved to a short third man, but instead Lanning just keeps it a bit finer and just runs it down there. The bowler should be communicating to her captain where she's going to bowl and what field she wants to put there, and but Lanning is one of those star players who can just manipulate the ball.
Immediately under pressure, she goes short. She might have got Lanning. Oh, it's dropped over the rope for 6 by Claudie Cooper. That is a bit of luck for the Australian and a massive moment in this Roses match. Wasn't totally convincing from Lanning, who gets a life.
That could and should have been a wicket, really. Was a deliberate ploy, drop it short. I've got my deep square leg, and it goes to the hands of Claudie Cooper and then straight through the, well, it came off them over the boundary.
So 14 off 3. Lanning will get 1 more. Here out to deep third. So Rainey's over ends up being a very expensive one, but she can count herself a bit unfortunate to not have the enormous wicket of Meg Lanning, and after 2 overs, Lancashire are 21 without loss.
Yeah, 16 off that over, and that's a good start from a Lancashire perspective, and Yorkshire will be ruining that. Well, it was a chance, you know, we've got to stop sort of making excuses. It 100%. Went straight to hand, and these are the types of steps forward that the women's game needs to make.
And the other thing, it's a phrase I find myself using sometimes, which is rope management, by which I mean managing where, and Cooper does end up just a couple of yards in front. If she was a yard or 2 back, might it have been a little more comfortable. As Jonathan starts a new over, Lanning just guides that straight to backward point. You don't really need any numbers from me to tell you just how good Meg Lanning is, but it won't surprise you to know she's been outrageously impressive for Lancashire in this blast competition. She's just gone past 300 runs in the competition with those boundaries, although she won't collect one there.
No, well fielded.
And it's 300 runs at an average north of 60 and a strike rate north of 150 per 100 balls.
She's just personifies class when it comes to cricket. You know, just the way she carries herself. She looks extremely fit. She's obviously not let her fitness go since stepping down from the Australian team. And here she is just striking Jess Jonathan down the ground for a single down to long off. You know, she looks in control. She's had a couple of whafts early on, but now she looks like she's just controlling the bat, controlling her innings.
Warwickshire versus Sussex, the other game today. So that means that Lanning has got a clear run on becoming the top run scorer in the comp. If she made 68 here, she takes that title off Somerset's Sophie Luff, who has 359 runs. Somerset captain at an almost identical strike rate to Lanning. Is helped away by Jones. It's a help yourself kind of delivery. And Jones joins in the fun. So Jonathan with a rare poor ball here. In and around that leg stump. Jones says thank you very much.
Yeah, good shot by Eve Jones, and it's just hit it where you want for that ball for Eve Jones, and she struck it well to the boundary as Jonathan comes in once more, and it's struck aerially again. There's a couple of fielders going for it, and it's one bounce straight to the fielder, to Stir Callis, who's out there on the long off boundary.
It wasn't totally dissimilar to a couple we saw early from Campbell. That it's a bit of a plink over the infield. Winfield Hill and Jonathan just having a bit of a chat with one ball left of the third over.
Yeah, the brains trust.
Those two who, of course, were part of WNCL victory in the winter. Pretty much playing cricket together all year round. Is that straight at mid-on, so end of the over, and I'll make way. Dr. Jane Powell will continue. We'll lead you through the next few alongside Maroof Khan on summariser's duty.
Yeah, and at the end of the third over, 27 for naught. Lancashire will be happy with this start, and Yorkshire will be, as I said earlier, ruining the drop chance at deep square leg, and they'll be hoping that this time, as Claudie Cooper comes on to bowl, that they'll be more successful with any chance.
Yeah, great chance that. I think great planning as well. I know it's always good to see a plan work. In this case, it did work, but obviously not the good result that Yorkshire wanted. Having said that, what a class player Meg Lanning is. The amount of time she has when she plays those shots and the way she's waiting on the ball is a treat to watch for all the girls and even men to watch her play it this way.
Yeah, anybody who loves cricket needs to watch this cricketer batting out here at the moment. She's in control. Even the running between wickets, she looks extremely on her game, so to speak, in all aspects. In her fielding, she tracked around the outfield and made many good stops, and now she's out there opening the batting with Eve Jones, and they've taken the score on to 28 for nothing off 3.1 overs.
And this game is all about personality. It's all about persona. It's all about how you come across as well, You come across calm, collected, assured. The girls watch that and they feel secure as well, and the game develops as they go along.
As that struck down the ground, it'll be one bounce and over the boundary for 4. Little bit of a easy full toss there.
Well, if there's a case of an apple pie and a chocolate mousse on top of it, that's the ball that was it was really, she could have played it anywhere she wanted, and always took the safest option, going straight over the bowler's head.
Yeah, that's very Australian in many ways, going straight. That's the shot that they grow up on. That's the shot that they practice the most, as she smacks that one through the point area for another 4. And this is already one of those overs where the bowler just needs to get a grip, so to speak, because if not, it could be very costly and really put the ball in Lancashire's court.
Also, it's important to observe, we have the bowler going round the wicket. When you go round the wicket, you take out so many dismissals out of the way. That told Meg Darling that, okay, if it has to be a great ball to get me out now, clearly the freedom that she has now, she knows if it's a bad ball outside the line, she's going to throw her hands at it. And that's what she's done in 2 balls.
And she's now coming over the wicket. She must have been listening to you, Rufa. As that struck magnificently down the ground. That's over the side screen, into the car park, hits the red golf out there. That's 6 runs all the way. And the security man has fielded it. He's bringing it back. Let's see what his throw's like.
Oh, spare arm that, well done.
Not bad, that.
Great batting again. Oh, too much of flight, really. Meg Lanning expects that. She knows that the bowler cannot bowl anything else. Waits for it. Under Riper's beautiful golf.
Perfect shot, though. Perfect execution of the lofted straight drive.
Once again, class written all over it.
This is an expensive over so far, so Claudie Cooper needs to pull it back in. And that's misfielded by Jess Woolston, and it's gone through to the boundary for 4. So Yorkshire need to just lift their game. At the moment, it looks like they are drifting away from the contest.
I think it's also important at this stage, you know, Skipper Lauren Hill has a chat with Claude Cooper as to what the plan is. I think at this stage, too many balls on either side of the wicket, either too full or too short, really.
And there's the reply, there's the riposte. That's exactly what Yorkshire would have wanted. And Meg Lanning lifts her head in despair there as she obviously just gets an outside nick into the gloves of Lauren Winfield Hill. And they'll be breathing a big sigh of relief.
A big wicket, a really big wicket. Meg Lanning throws her heads back in disgust, really. I mean, after I've scored so many runs in that over, that was the first ball that had some pace on it, and she thought, you know, highs might have lit up. Well, that's a fast ball, just put my bat on it. She does. Faint edge, good catch by Lauren. Big wicket for Yorkshire at this stage.
34 runs scored off 15 balls, and that's just what Yorkshire required. A very similar start to Amy Campbell in a way, where she was just appeared to be striking the ball so cleanly and so well that you think they can't make an error here. And then in the first batting innings, Amy Campbell did, where she holed out, and then that one that we've just seen where Lanning just nicks it through to the keeper.
At the comparative stage, Yorkshire were 44 for 1 and Lancashire 46 for 1 at the upper 4. So I think really nothing much in it, but a start, you know, especially for a low score that Yorkshire have put up. Emma Lamb coming in now, I know it's all about building that pressure again for the first 6 overs, so 2 overs remaining. I think they will carry on doing what they're doing, is getting as many runs as possible and try and bring the target down as quickly as possible.
And Sarah Glenn is about to come on from the city end as well. It's great to see these international players playing in the county championship and in the Vitality Blast. And Sarah Glenn coming back from a finger injury and loving her time here at Yorkshire.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah Glenn coming in and taking the good Holly Garton out of place as well.
But once again, Eve Jones has found the gap between the point fielder and the extra cover fielder, and it's an easy 4 runs for her. And this is where captain and bowler should be thinking about, have I got the right field placings? Because that's not the first time that ball's gone through to the cover boundary. At the moment, the 2 fielders out. One is at deep mid-wicket. And one is at long on. And that's hit yet again through the offside. A wide long off for 4 runs.
Yeah, as you rightly pointed out, I think really the question now is what the plan is, which is why Lauren is now walking up to Sarah Glenn to understand if they are on the same page with that planning. Clearly, what she's bowled here is off a different field, really. And the balls are all going on the offside, just in case here as well. I think Lauren just confirming that with Glenn as well, to making sure what the plan is. I think there would be a change of field. Looks likely. The 45 now come in place. Still the 4-5 in the ring on the offside. Backward square leg as well. Just one deep wicket outside.
There's an easy single out there because the two fielders on the leg side, one's at deep mid-wicket and one's at deep long on. So any ball that's hit out towards that side for the left-hander is a very easy single.
And in the context of the game, the one run is not that bad. Probably the pace on that ball was much better as well. That didn't allow much room for the batter to go and do much thing else. Nudge it away for a single, which is fair. But then again, now a right-hander comes into the attack on batting-wise. What happens now? Is it the same plan, or we change it?
Zemilam just strikes that one down the ground to long on for a single. And again, the field changes. The left-right hand combination is one of those that certainly as a captain I used to love it because it used to really make the bowler have to think.
Yeah, she settled in quite nicely at the last three balls. I think the chat has helped. The pace has increased as well on the ball. More attacking on the stumps and more actually bowling to areas where she wants to be hit or where the fielders are really, protecting the long boundaries on the onside. So she has to come out of this over quite quickly. She's already conceded 10 runs.
And that's 4 out to the mid-wicket area. A valiant effort by Erin Morris out there, but just couldn't quite connect with the ball as she went diving to her right.
A little short there. Expected that ball to come in. Malam just waiting on it. Just had to make nice clean contact. Knew that was a deep mid-wicket that she had to beat, and she did quite good effort again, as you said, Dr. Jane Powell. But then 4 runs conceded, and all of a sudden it's 61 for 1 after 5.
Yes, and that's 15 runs off that over, and the last 2 overs have gone for 19 and 15, and they're big overs in the context of the game, and we've got 1 more over left of the power play, so we've got another over where you're only allowed 2 fielders out, and looks like Olivia Thomas is going to come up from the rugby stand end, and a young leg spinner.
Young leg spinner. Short boundary to protect. 5 overs gone. Not a good start.
No, and last year Olivia Thomas was one of the strong players and got the Players' Player of the series of the year, and she struggled with injury at the start of this year and is just coming back and is still trying to work on getting the right length, and she overpitched that last one, and that's a better ball, but a misfield yet again from Yorkshire, and they'll be unhappy with their fielding at this stage in the game.
Yeah, I think she's just working herself into the over, as you rightly pointed out. Don't see much pace on that ball, allowing the batter to go on the back foot and just place that ball correctly. I think these 4 balls will be bonus balls. They will go after it because it's the end of the power play after this. 67 for 1. Get as many runs as you can.
And then every player knows that when the bowler's struggling a little bit for line and length, the fielders have to back them up and just make a bad ball into a good ball, so to speak. And that's not happening at the moment from a Yorkshire perspective. And that's better and well fielded off her own bowling there by Olivia Thomas, and definitely prevented a run there.
Yeah, in the context of the game, if big things don't happen for yourself, these small wins, a great stop there, and encourage the team, encourage the players, gives them that impetus that it requires, to collectively form something like a pressure situation for the opposition.
That's a big hit by Eve Jones, and that's gone straight over the boundary for 6 runs at backward square leg. And another short ball that was deposited by the Lancashire batter over the boundary, and that's takes them to 73 for 1.
Yeah, a little short as well. Little short there as well. Again, finding her length. She hasn't quite got that, and conceding boundaries as well. So pressure's completely on her. A short ball swivels around over square leg. Good 6 runs.
Yeah, and Lauren Winfield Hill has got a few questions and dilemmas in her mind at this moment in time as to who she should be playing. And there's that's a bit uppish, but evaded Sturkallis at mid-off. They think about 2, but fielded well by the veteran Beth Langston out here.
Yeah, the end of 6 overs, 74 for 1.
And Yorkshire was 78 for 1. So at the moment they're quite consistent, but sadly Yorkshire fell away quite strongly. So it'll be interesting to see if Yorkshire can pull this one round as Lancashire did, and see if they can just cause a few questions to the Lancashire bats, because you'd have to say at the moment that Lancashire are in a strong position, having lost just 1 wicket in that power play scenario. Hannah Rainey is going to come back on from the city end, and they'll be looking to take a wicket or 2.
Yeah, Yorkshire need a few quick wickets really. As you saw the scoreboard there, it was 74 for 1, playing 78 for 1, and then Yorkshire just scored 78 runs after that.
Yeah, and that's where they fell away. Yeah.
And the great nemesis of losing wickets in clusters has followed Yorkshire girls all the way through the season so far.
It's an interesting ball. It just didn't seem to bounce, did it? It seemed to skid
a lot
through.
In the air. That ball moved a lot in the air, did it? Perhaps a closer look, going round the wicket, Jones, and moving away from the left-hander. That was a very difficult ball to bowl, that, Dr. James.
Yeah, very good. Some good pace on the ball that Hannah Rainey's getting there, and that one lifted a little bit. So the last one skidded through almost, and that one just lifted a bit. And those 2 balls alone start to put a bit of doubt into the batter's mind, because they're thinking, just a minute, it was coming through nice and easy for me, and it was at the same, it was consistent, and all of a sudden the last 2 have been a little bit like, make me think about it. That's hit her on the pad, going over the stumps. There wasn't any chance of that being a LBW, but they've come through for a leg by.
Yeah, decent pace as well. I think very difficult to bowl these balls. She's trying to shape them away from the left hand and going round the wicket. Clearly the wind is helping her in doing so. But yeah, talking Evie Jones, hits on the pad, quick run for single as well, and that's important as well. Batters know that when there is good balls being delivered, they're still constantly rotating the strike, which is very important in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where teamwork comes in, doesn't it, in the partnerships when you play in the game. As we get Jess Jonason's view on the camera. That's struck by Emma Lamb out to the point area, deep point, and there's just a single there.
Yeah, for all our viewers who are into some kind of fast bowling, it's good to see Hannah Rainey come in, charging down the track. Beautiful run-up as well. Good, strong action, follows it all the way through. That explains why she's giving the movement and the bounce as well. Looks to be a very, very energetic player.
That's a beautiful strike by Eve Jones, and it's gone straight. One bounce over the boundary. Lovely stride. Forward, swing of the bat, straight through the ball.
She knows what length's coming her way. She's seen 4 of those. So she's just taking a gamble. It's where it's going to pitch. Give herself room. A great shot above extra cover. That was a quality.
Yeah, she stepped slightly to leg side to be able to give herself some room on the offside, and that was a lovely shot. Good Yorker.
Small game within the game as well, really. That was a very good ball again. Nevertheless, at the end of it, still 6 runs from it. It's 80 for 1 after 7.
Yeah, no, it was a good over, you know, and apart from the one where Eve Jones made it into a shot that she could play over extra cover for 4 runs. That was a very interesting, varied over.
Yeah, I think perhaps the best we have seen in terms of overs so far. I think at least Hannah Rennie knows what the plan is. She's hitting the deck hard, attacking the stumps, and keeping the movement and pace in play. I think rest assured the other bowlers from Yorkshire especially have not been on one side of the wicket or haven't found it quite difficult to contain the runs. At the moment, they just
From
need
the rugby
81
ground,
runs off
Sarah Glenn.
78 balls with 9 wickets in hand.
Yeah, and Sarah Glenn is switching ends to see if she has more success from the rugby stand end. She went for 15 runs in her first over, so she'll be wanting to have more of a wicket-taking impact in this over than a runs scored against her.
Wide shot to the umpire as well. Please, can you stand where you are? That's my takeoff position.
These spinners. That's played out calmly for 1 run by Emma Lamb to cover point.
Yeah, as the 6 overs have been done, the field is spread out. Sarah Glenn feels more comfortable now because she has now protection at deep long on, deep mid wicket and deep point. Now it tells her that even if she bowls a bad ball, she's got protection. And then she's coming right through the lens and then at 1 run conceded of that ball.
Short outside going down leg side, and that's helped round the corner, but you're quite right to say there's cover around that corner now. So that was just a single from, in all essence, it wasn't a very good ball, but that's good to keep it to just 1 run. Emma Lamb facing. And a much better ball, much better length and line from Sarah Glenn. No run.
If you just look at, our viewers can't see that, but if you see all the players right now, very quiet. They feel the energy has been sucked out of them because of that start that's been had.
Again, a little bit short, helped to deep square leg, and they're coming back for 2, and it's just not as accurate as Yorkshire would have wanted. There would have been the potential of a run out there had it been an accurate throw, but it is quite it looks a fair distance, that boundary out towards the river side. I think that's the river over there, I believe.
Yeah, it is. There is also another York club there as well. I believe there's another cricket club there. on the other side.
It's
Cross
up in the air
line.
and falls safely. Just 1 bounce to Jess Jonathan. Got away with that one a little bit, did Emma Lamb. Didn't control that one, top edge, and it just spooned up, but it didn't fall into anywhere near any hands. It definitely fell short of them.
That particular ball created his chances. I mean, clearly, field being spread out, batters need that they want to keep pushing the scoreboard, but I think at the end of it, 1 run got away with it.
It's good batting from Eve Jones. Pushes it into a vacant square area, mid-wicket area, and takes the 1 and looks for 2, but is satisfied with 1 run, and that was the end of the over. 6 off the over, 86 for 1.
Chasing 160 odd runs, being 86 for 1 after 10 or after 8, you would be in the driver's seat as a batting team. Really,
Absolutely.
From
And I
the
think
city end, Beth Langston.
everything from the game perspective needs to be done from the Yorkshire side now, because Lancashire know exactly how many runs they need to get and how many balls remaining. They can pace themselves. Wickets is the only way that can curtail the run chase, and which is why Lauren Winford is bringing in the changes, gets Beth Langston in.
Yeah, the experienced Langston coming into bowl from the city end, and she came in and had a little bit of an impact with the bat, but she'll be wanting to impact with the ball now. Oh, false start. Eve Jones wasn't quite ready. Fiddles with the gloves, gets ready again, and Beth Langston ready to try that once more. A short ball, and Winfield Hill quickly deposited her wicket-keeping glove, so she was ready to throw down the stumps, but they chose not to run.
Yeah, Yorkshire need to do something special here. They need to make sure that they're creating chances and obviously taking them. There's a beautiful shot that steps right into it. And this is very good batting as well. Really expected where the ball was coming in, was ready for it, straight above the bowler's head. Good shot. Is that 4 or a 6? I'm not sure.
6 has been signalled. And, you know, we were told earlier what a great batting track it is, and you can see from the shots that both teams have played that it is very true and very nice track to bat on. I think you and I would both enjoy a bat out there, Maroof, today.
I don't think we would waste our energy taking singles on this wicket.
That's just our old age.
I'm sure you're speaking for yourself there.
Yeah, yes, I definitely am speaking for myself. I'd probably work in boundaries. Maybe if the fielders are way out to the boundary edge, I could probably walk through a single. But no, it's such a lovely track that you can trust yourself to play through the ball and trust that the ball will be deposited by the bat.
Yeah, Clifton Park has always been a ground where its chasing has always been good. On an average, if you're going above 9 or chasing about 9 to 10 runs and over, that's par because of the fast outfield and the good track. And the wind also assists certain shots, especially here if they're coming towards the pavilion. On and all, you know, it's a good side, especially the games also coming out of Headingley and into the other offshoots of the region as well, which is good to see.
That's a bouncer attempted, which is played down to fine leg. Was backward square, and that's a single. One ball left in the over, already gone for 8 runs. Field alters because left right-handed comes in. Eve Jones comes in to face the last ball of the over. Yeah, I think York Cricket Club is certainly an outground that Yorkshire uses, and it's very popular. Half a chance of a pressure on the run there, but misfielded by Thomas there. So there's the end of the over, and that's 9 runs off the over.
Right, that's 6 runs. That's 6 runs short. Oh, look at the girls there. Look at the girls come out in numbers just on the boundary line. Rope. I think some kind of a game there, but
From the rugby
could be
ground
cartwheels
end,
coming out
Neil
soon.
Thomas.
At least the kids are. Oh, there we go.
There we go. There's a cartwheel.
At least the kids are enjoying themselves.
Finish with a round off.
Completely oblivious to what's
There we
happening.
go.
There we go.
There we
Oh,
go.
that is sensational. That.
Look at the little one. Very good, girls. Very good.
Great camera work as well, should we say?
Not bad that you can come and have a gymnastics display while you're watching the cricket, so get yourself down to Clifton Park. The over from Olivia Thomas, a little bit short, worked into the long gone area. And that's 50 runs for Eve Jones, a well-deserved 50 runs as well.
That goes to show the quality of the knock as well, you know, as if nobody was aware of it, and she's just stuck onto it, and was already batting 50 off 30 odd balls already. That's amazing to see, and you know, that is why Lancashire is in such a strong position.
Struck down the ground, there's nobody there, and that's 1 bounce for 4. Yeah, Eve Jones has hit a fair number of 4s and 6s though in that knock. She's hit 2 6s and 6 4s, so a good knock from Eve Jones there.
Once again, steps right into it. Mid-off is on top. Just has to clear the ball. Beautiful shot again. Good cricketing shots, and it's very important to understand that they're not slogging their way. They're really playing good cricketing, authentic shots, and it's very important to see how.
She pulled across the line a little bit there, but that was well fielded by Jess Woolston, and that's the type of fielding that Yorkshire would be wanting every single ball, where they put pressure on the batters that they can't take an easy single. And with the easy singles, then it frees them up to swing freely when the ball is in the slot where they like it.
Yeah, at the moment from over 6 onwards or 4 onwards, every over they've conceded 1 boundary. That takes the pressure off completely from the batters, and then they just noodle around for a few singles. So obviously needs to make sure that she keeps the ball up. In this case, she hasn't. Short ball swung around to deep square leg. 1 run, got away with it again.
Well fielded by Hannah Rainey. The throw wasn't great, but she fielded the ball and released it quickly. And often, if any youngsters are looking, that's what you need to do. When you pick up the ball, release it quickly so that it's getting towards. That will often prevent the batters from taking an extra run. There could have been an extra run there, but because she picked it up and released it quickly, they couldn't risk it. Running the first one quickly, looking for the second, but Amy Campbell comes in and there's no run there, so just the 1 run off that.
Once again, smart batting. They had the boundary earlier on the over. After that, it's just rotating the strike, and as if like that, they've already got 9 runs in this over and still 1 ball to go.
That's the end of the over, and it's 102 for 1 at the end of the 10th
and
over.
included 6 4s and 2 6s.
A similar stage, Yorkshire went 97 for 4.
Yes, and it's looking very ominous now with just 59 to win from 60 balls. You're down now to less than 1 a ball, and once you get to that situation, careful game management means you've won the game.
Meanwhile, just for our viewers, the
City
youngsters
end,
here showing
Jess
what's
Woolston.
expected of England this evening as well.
Yeah, a few tricks there, a few little
tricks there,
skills.
England t-shirts are out as well, Is it 8:30 or 6:30? The boys are playing this evening. They are.
They are playing this evening, you're right. I keep being more concerned with the World Cup cricket than I do the World Cup football, and that's probably something that everybody's going to say, what on earth are you talking about? But it's definitely, as that is played onto her own foot there, with Jess Woolston coming on from the City end, and Eve Jones almost Yorks herself there. Actually, she hit it into her front ankle. So if you see that right into the heel of the front leg, that's a painful one.
That's what we call a wake-up call. That just goes to show how good a wicket this is. If you have come in, if you've settled in, anything just short of a length or away from the line, throws a batter at Eve Jones. 4 runs, beats the point fielder. Good batting again. 4 runs, well deserved. Once again, the first 3 overs of the last 6 overs in question, first 3 balls have conceded a boundary.
Jones is still hobbling a little bit on that leg that she hit. But it's not stopping her from middling the ball. That was a lovely shot out to the boundary, and she came through for an easy single.
Yeah, just Wilson coming back. I've seen her after a long time, actually. I haven't seen her play many games this season.
No, she's had an up and down season as Jess. You know, she's played in some of the one-day games, but she hasn't had as effective start as she would have wanted. And with the young Guinness Blackwell playing well, and Rachel Slater, who's not playing today as well, you know, there's a whole range of seam bowlers that Yorkshire have at their disposal. There's a misfield and they come through for a single. There's good awareness from these two batters at the moment as to what they can take and what they can't take.
Yeah, and they seem to communicate well as well. You know, constantly chatting, reminding themselves what the target is, you know, what the wicket's doing, what the bowler's trying to do, keeping themselves occupied in the game. That all corresponds to good partnership batting. Once again, a little short outside the off stump. Glided towards deep point, one of a single.
Field alters with the right-hand, left-handers, and there's still movement going on. But there's so many spaces at the moment that really the batters of this calibre can just hit it into any space that they want and take a single. And there's the space out on the offside for Emma Lamb to just push and go through for the single. And that's the end of the 11th over, and it's 110 for 1, and they're just coasting here at the moment.
Yeah, consistently getting over 8 runs and over for the last 8 overs, and they haven't even broken sweat. As I said, they're conceding boundaries in the first 3 balls of every over. That's taking the pressure off the batters, and all they're then doing is just milking away for singles. And that's good partnership batting, good sensible batting, and that is why the score is 110 for 1. 51 runs required of 9 overs now.
From the rugby ground end.
Yes, I think, as I say, I think this is a bit of a coasting situation for Lancashire here. They've only lost 1 wicket. They've got 9 wickets left. They've got 9 overs to just get 51 runs, and they will know that this is a very straightforward thing to do as Hannah Rainey comes back from the rugby stand end. Drops it short, but it's helped round the corner, and that's 4 runs. That's meat and drink for a batter of this class, as Emma Lamb just shows.
Yeah, Emma Lamb waits on it nicely. Great hands, watches all the way onto the bat. Good contact again. Short ball. Got the 4 runs it deserved. Lancashire are coasting towards a victory at this stage. Some skills there as well. Oh, potential, yeah. Football skills on display shortly as well. Is it 5 o'clock the game starts tonight?
Yeah. And another short and another frustrating nick by the Lancashire batter through to Winfield Hill.
And rightly so, a wicket that was needed. A shortish ball. I think maybe she threw her hands over it. Good opportunity to take the run. Tickles away. Good run. Good wicket again. Once again, Emma Lamb. In fact, she threw that wicket away. She was batting so well on 22. But a wicket that Yorkshire needed.
Yeah, and it's just felt today that there's been quite a few batters who've got themselves in and then just got themselves out with shots that have not been necessary. You know, it's about reading the game. I mean, she's just hit the ball for 4, and that ball's lifted on her quite a lot, and she's trying to play it above shoulder height and just gets her nick on it, and it's just like, did you need to do that?
Yeah, I think if the shot was on, personally for me, if the ball's gone above the shoulder, I don't need to do anything now to keep the ball down. I need to just make sure that it help it along its way over point and over covers or whatever the fielder is on the other side. Just making sure they're going over the top, over the 25-yard circle would have been a safer batting option and a short selection. Nevertheless, a wicket that was required for Yorkshire, which is good. Having said that, Lancashire is still in the driver's seat.
The new batter is Tilly Kesteven. There's a big appeal for LBW. The umpire thinks about it. There's a shy at the bowler's end. Fortunately backed up by Beth Langston, and that ends up as a dot ball. Lots of things happening there. That was definitely going to miss leg stump. Good call by the umpire.
On the wicket, that's too high and then missing the leg stump. That's correct. Good decision.
Up round the corner, and there's just one run there. I think they'll give us a job as DRS, you know, for the World Cup games. We made a decision like that on about 2 seconds, didn't we? You know, and sometimes you can be waiting 2 minutes with the World Cup. It's nothing more frustrating waiting for those decisions.
I call it a coffee break.
Oh, well stopped by Lauren Winfield Hill.
Unlucky there. I think the ball kept a little low, missed the stump somehow. Comes round the wicket. Just the mark. Oh, moves prodigiously that.
Yeah, went between the bat and the pad of the left-hander there. And a good reach by Lauren Winfield Hill that could easily have gone through to the boundary for 4 byes. Good energy from Rainey coming in from this rugby stand end, and that's the end of the over, and that's 6 off the over for 1 wicket, 116 for 2. Rainey has been effective, I think is what you'd say, when she's come on from both ends. And a welcome back to Michael McCann.
Thank you, Dr. Jane. Actually coasting towards victory, and really it's only up to them if they want to find a way to throw this game away, in truth. The other thing, though, that will be on their mind is that net run rate doesn't care how many wickets you lose. This is part of a wider 12-game blast campaign where they're trying to fight their way back into that top 4. A bigger net run rate win just helps with that. Woolston in looking for the breakthrough, and has got the breakthrough. Eve Jones has to go for a magnificent 57 from just 38 balls. It's Woolston who does the trick with one that just seemed to cut back a little bit. 116 for 3 then, and suddenly in quick succession Lancashire have lost both of their set batters, just given Yorkshire the tiniest of hope here.
Yeah, great ball by Jess
Batting
Woolston.
number 5 for Lancashire Thunder.
See that again, and see the wicket broken. Here we come. She comes round the wicket. I think there was a bottom edge onto that one.
Sanger will confirm the other one was obscured by Winfield Hill. Yes, certainly so. Jones just threw it a little bit early. Played very well for her. 57 from 38, and as long as the middle order do their job for the Red Rose, it should prove to be one of the pivotal contributions in victory.
But with 2 new batters at the crease, it just causes a little bit of a consternation. But yet again, you know, you've got some talented batters still coming in from the Lancashire team.
Yeah, suddenly that finishing line just feels a touch further away. Vrelkel, skipper, facing up to Woolston. It's just tucking into the onside. Wants to. It's Lauren Winfield Hill who gets there first. I know a lot of people do love to see keepers in the outfield, but then it's a bit untidy from Yorkshire because Winfield Hill doesn't need to throw the ball. They weren't taking the second. She throws. It's missed by Glenn, who was up to the stumps. And it's backed up by Langston, and so they get the double.
Yeah, that's a little bit silly, and also there's too many areas for me that these new batters can score runs at, and they don't need more than singles, so there's no pressure on them to go out and hit big. Anything on the leg side is a single, and they just need to sort of tighten it up a bit. You're not going to save this game by saving runs. You've got to take wickets, so you might as well just bring in and put a bit more pressure on the batters out there.
So far in the T20 Blast this season with 136 runs at an average in the 20s and a strike rate scoring their runs at 7 and over. It's that leaps a little bit from Worston, lovely keeping up to the stumps from Winfield Hill.
Yeah, Winfield Hill's kept well today, taken 2 good catches, saved what could have been 4 byes. Just had a little blip when she's just given away an overthrow, but took that one well as it lifted quite strongly on the threshold.
To rebuild from collapse, mid-collapse, collapse. As Frelkel will get her first boundary here, just use the pace. Just diving away to her left, quite get there at short third, Sarah Glenn. There's a hint of the outside edge about it, but it's relatively controlled. Brings the runs required to 40, 39 to win. Plenty of time to get them in. Quite run rate still underneath a run a ball. This time more control, cuts for 4. Worston hasn't got this right. That's not the ball with this field. It's a bit help yourself, in truth. Back-to-back boundary to Frelkel. Just relieves a sense of a bit of pressure building on the Red Rose, who at the end of the 13th are 126 for 4.
Yeah, 10 off that over, and not what is required at this stage. I mean, the wickets are what is required, and they need to sort of tighten it up as best they can. Anna Rainey going to complete her 4th over, I think, this end. Yeah, she's bowled 3, so this is her 4th over.
1 for 26 for 3. She can make a case as being Yorkshire's best bowler today. Jonathan has still got 2 in the bank. Winfield Hill will be reluctant to not use her at the death, but there may come a point where she's just got to use a trump card earlier than that. Rainey from the rugby ground end. It's a play and miss from Stephen. Burst onto the scene. Really had her first statement innings at senior level in that County Cup final, where she had quite the day of it. She got ran out without facing in the semi-final, but in the final was player of the match in victory against Surrey. Sure, Stephen right into the gap. It's a bit of a nothing ball really from Rainey, and it's gratefully put away, so Tilly Stephen gets her first 4.
Yeah, the first ball just moved away a bit, but that one was just a freebie really. It was just short and hittable, and that's what it got. But you know, you can't bowl it there at this level and expect the batter not to punish it.
Readjust. Can. This would be just 1.
But again, that's that easy single that I'm talking about. You know, there's a single there every single time, and that's where you just need to have a think about how can we keep pressure on them and protect the boundaries, but just cause a little bit more thinking by the batters.
Now, just out of shot here, Lauren Winfield Hill and Rainey are having a chat. I wonder if Winfield Hill's just saying, do you remember that ball you bowled to Alice Capsey?
Yeah.
Scotland played England, the absolute polar that looked like it was going to nip in, then went away, literally hit the top of off.
Yeah.
Anna,
Can you bowl that?
could you pull that one out of the locker again?
Right, can you bowl 3 of them?
Yeah. He, of course, joined Yorkshire last season on loan and then permanently from Lancashire against our old teammates. much better ball there that definitely cut back a little. Frelkeld in half. By. How was that missed?
Yeah, it was a good ball.
It's done too much, if anything. It's one of them.
Yes, half an inch less movement, and that could well have nicked left leg stump.
That's just 2 balls left to make an impact on this one. Two legitimate balls. That will be 2 more to the 1 more to the score. It's a great save by Winfield Hill. Bringing out her best. And Hampton or Mary Earp's impression.
Yeah, she's kept well today. I've been impressed with Lauren's keeping today.
That a delivery like that's horror for a keeper as
Yeah.
well. Right arm around, obscured by the batter as well. Just gotta throw yourself down the leg side and try and get there. Intentional bumper from Rainey. Good bumper from Rainey.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Good line. And it just evaded the bat. Thought that might have had another nick for the 3rd catch behind for Lauren Winfield Hill, having already taken 2 this innings.
Rainey, who's battled a lot of injury problems over the years at Lancashire and then has had a few niggles in her time at Yorkshire. Is now steaming in with some intent. Another short one. Has managed to just about get past Winfield Hill.
No, I don't know how close that was to the helmet. It looked quite
I
close
think
from here.
I think it
And I
was
was thinking,
very close.
oh my goodness, this could be 5 runs here.
So that is the end of Rainey's spell. 135 for 3 then with 6 overs left. So 36 legitimate balls left in the game. Very manageable 26 to win for Lancashire. It's the goodest boy of the day. Watches on.
From the city end,
Other
Jess
species
Jonathan.
of dog are available. Lauren Winfield Hill, so has been to a lot of the home games at York over the years, and there's been other players getting a walk around the boundary. Little Cocker Spaniel, haven't seen that one today. Seen that dog's at cricket ground, sort of part of the aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yorkshire have played the Jonathan card, and I can see why. Had to happen soon. 2 overs left before the start of this one, but the situation demands that it's got to be now, really.
Yeah, otherwise she's going to be left over without using one of your Premier bowler. Oh, and that's just chopped down and just misses the stumps as there's a shy at the stumps by Sarah Glenn.
It's nearly
You see on the replay. Just chopped it down and it just evades the leg stump.
classic one. Frelkeld had no idea where it had gone, but she just had Stephen running at her, saying, "Run." Was quite happy to be at the non-strikers. Stephen facing Jonathan for the first time. He went for 11 from the first couple. Sweeps. I don't think there was any bat on it. Blocked off the body. Tell so much from that shout. We don't have a camera behind the bowler's arm at that City Road end of the ground today.
That's a good drive by Threckhold.
They're just turning it into a half volley. You can always tell a good player against spin by one measure being their confidence in coming down the track. Just the 23 to win. Should be Lancashire's game. Stephen has completely spooned this up and will be caught easily by Woolston. So Stephen gone for just 6. Yorkshire play the Jess Jonathan card, and it works. 138 for 4.
Yeah, and you'd probably start to think, should this have been played a little bit earlier? You know, Lancashire don't need that many runs to win, and you needed to put a bit of pressure on on them a little bit earlier, but that was just spooned up in
Tilly
the air.
Costigan was
Good ball
scored
from
by Jess
Jonathan.
Woolston off the bowling of
Nice
Jess
and easy,
Jonathan
straightforward.
for 7.
And taken by Jess Wilson.
Call that a sleep. So Woolston has her first wicket.
Batting number
Johnson
6 for
has her
Lancashire
first wicket
Thunder,
of the day.
Seren Smale.
Woolston trying to go over the top. Lancashire just stuttering a little as they try and get this game finished off. Seren Smale comes to the wicket. Smale, so far in the T20s, not in the form that she would like. It's part of the reason why she's ended up at 6. 47 runs at an average of 9 and a strike rate of 80 per 100 balls. So she'll be feeling a little bit nervous, Smale. Thunder's Player of the Year a couple of seasons back and did make her England debut in late 2024 against Ireland. Able to get off the mark there. End of the over then. So bringing back Jonathan has worked well for Yorkshire. There's few times that's been a bad decision for the White Rose this campaign. Dr. Jane Powell will take a break, settling into the seat alongside me with 5 overs left of the contest. Someone who, amongst other things, is head coach of the women and girls team at Sheffield
From the rugby
Collegiate,
ground end,
part of the
Sarah
Dixon's
Glenn.
Academies Trust, as well as being one of the tridents in the men's DPLs. Once again, we see that doggo in the Yorkshire camp. I think that's Ria Thakral who's got the pooch in her lap. How are we?
Start again. I think not too bad, really. I think once again a game that had so much to show for from both sides, really. You know, great start, and then
Glenn's new over starts with being swept at a deep fine. One of those where you've got to keep an eye on the spin. That'll be another single.
once again, you know, we as we say, Yorkshire has a great start and somehow find a way to throw it away. It's been happening all season, and nevertheless, you know, come back again. They try and get wickets at regular intervals, but not enough. Clearly, in this case, 161 on this wicket, not a good score.
Lancashire with an outstanding power play and didn't really have to do as much beyond that. This game will be single this time down to long on, by which I mean Lancashire were 74 for 1 after 6 out of the power play, but by that point, because they were chasing 160 rather than say 200 or that kind of ballpark, there's no pressure to keep that acceleration on. And goes quicker and flatter, trying to use all of her international experience to find the breakthrough. Fraukel takes 1.
And once you get those 70, 80 runs on the first 6 overs, the game is just yours for taking. Then you just have to now milk yourself around and pace yourself and don't play unnecessary shots that you have to. You know, I have to mention Venus Vertu here. I think she came in at a tough time, and she got a big wicket as well, when, especially when Yorkshire were going so well at 70 or 80 for 1.
More free deep middle. Do you know what this game is? It reminds me of, and we don't have this on at here at Yorkshire Cricket Team, but I've worked in other productions where you do, where sometimes as commentators you get asked for your recommendation for player of the match, and all too often, because sometimes it's commentators, sometimes it's match referees, sometimes it's scorers, people just glance down at the scorecard and go, who scored runs? And this game is a perfect example of why doing that would be an almost criminal offence. This is swept. Big chase for deep square coming around. At least 2, and it will be 4. Well, it's just pushed over the rope by Rainey. That's frustration on frustration for Yorkshire. Got there and then just kind of kneed it over the boundary accidentally.
Valiant effort gone wasted. Yeah, just bobbled up bit, I think. Not easy that. Far line, but once again, you know, Lancashire marching towards victory.
Swept away. This time an easier one for Rainey to field. And just jumping back to that, you know, Eve James has played very well for a 57 off 38. Meg Lanning, of course, with a typically impressive knock at the top, 34-15. But really, it was Vertu that was the difference between chasing 160 and what could have been very easily 180, if not more. She got Amy Campbell out for 47 off 21, what feels like a long time ago. She got Stair Callis, who is one of the big fishes in this Yorkshire lineup, for 22 off 21, and she got Olivia Thomas as well.
3 big wickets there, you know, and also a girl who's only 16 years of age.
Yeah, we're going to be hearing a lot more about Venus in the next few years, don't you doubt. Here's Woolston. Took a wicket in her previous over, but gets pumped down the ground here by Frelkeld. Opens up front leg, teases the fielder, will go to the rope for 4.
Yeah, it's like hit me kind of a bowling really. It's like a net practice at the moment. You know, there is not much anything happening off the wicket, to be fair to Jess, but I think having two players of mid-off and mid-on up, that's the one length that she can't bowl is up, and that's what she's done there, and she's conceded 4 runs for that.
150 up for Lancashire. We're looking to finish this in a hurry against their big rivals. Just 10 runs away. A few more here. They'll get 4. That gets past Cooper. 6 to win. Frelkeld's finishing it off in double quick time. This means so much to Frelkeld in particular. She's been at Lancs since making her debut as a 14-year-old. She is very much one of their own. She was part of the Lancashire side that won the Old County One Day and T20 double in 2017. Skippered them to a regional T20 title in 2022, and then of course at professional level, double winners last season. Frelkeld trying to get it done in a hurry. He's going to get 1 more here, so it's 5 to win now. Of course, these sides will meet next Friday. Rose's T20 double header at Old Trafford. Yorkshire will have to bounce back quickly from expected defeat here. I'd say at this stage there is a double header at Headingley on Friday night. The women are playing Somerset. We've already beaten Yorkshire 3 times this season, so Yorkshire will hope to turn that one around. Men are facing Durham. Drops her back on that smell out to deep cover, 4 to win.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that, you know, it's not for the lack of trying. I think, you know, the coaches and the staff have done the changes, you know, gotten the players, changed the batting order a bit as well. You know, you see the last few games, Lauren Winfield coming down the order, etc. as well, trying to see if they can stem that flow of wickets that somehow seem to have not left Yorkshire all season long. And then, you know, having good starts as well. They have pockets in areas of the games where they have very dominated, but then they can't sustain that for long enough.
Looks like from that. In the later evening's entertainment, England are already 1-0 down. Seems like.
Once again,
far from yours truly to normally discuss anything men's sport on a women's live stream, but of course, there is plenty of England shirts around the ground here.
Can we give that cameraman a bonus as well? Because he's finding ways and avenues of keeping us entertained and also informed.
Do you know what? I'm very glad you mentioned that. Matthew Lurcock and Jacob Kilbride, our 2 camera ops today, they've done a great job. As Frelkeld digs that one out. It's not an easy job being a camera op at the cricket. You get all sorts of conditions to deal with, and they've done a great job of providing so many of the pictures that you see within the setup today. 157 for 4 then, and we're kind of on to cricket
From
administration. We're on to dotting I's, we're on to crossing T's, we're on to playing for as the batter, not getting out and ruining your stats, or we should be, because it's 4 to win off the last 3 overs. But Olivia Thomas will look to try and take one with her. She took 2 for 28 against Hampshire a few days ago. She got Maya Bouchier and Georgia Adams out, 2 Hampshire openers. And after being Yorkshire's star of last season, she's had some injuries this campaign, and then even when not injured, has been battling her way back into the team with this packed Yorkshire spin attack. only Olivia Thomas's 5th game this season. It's her old team, and that is smited down the ground, and that will be that. Smale finishes it in style, and Lancashire have dominated Yorkshire. They've got revenge after Yorkshire won by 83 runs at Old Trafford back in late April. It is Lancashire who comfortably come out victors today. They win by 6 wickets with 17 balls to spare, and in truth, needing 161 to win, have got there relatively comfortably to get what is just their 2nd T20 Blast win of the campaign. Yorkshire still winless in the Blast. It is the Red Rose who deservedly take this one. Seren Smell with the winning runs and the celebration in style as well.
Yeah, great finish. Great finish by Lancashire. I think they came here with the purpose of winning the game. They won under the pump in the first 6 overs, never gave hope. Fought in, fought hard, kept everything in play. The players responded with all the fielding and the catches, kept Yorkshire to 161, and then had a clinical performance with 3 overs to spare. Well done to Lancashire on this one.
From a Yorkshire point of view, 78 for 1 after the power play. You have to look back, and we've already alluded to this, but Venus Wirapulli made the difference. 3 for 13, she got out Amy Campbell for 47 off 21. And from that moment in the contest, it all went in the direction of the Red Rose.
Yeah, I think she stemmed the flow of runs, got the big wickets as well, gave Lancashire hope of coming back. Lancashire got confidence from that, and the girls responded very well. 161 on this wicket, on this outfield, was a very low score. And then coming on, the big McLaren come in and shows us what it's all about in the first 6 overs, and then the game was done after that.
Thank you very much to Maroof Khan for his time and insight. Thanks to Dr. Jane Powell and Maddie Ward, who you heard earlier on. Thanks to Jill Smith, who was talking about her fantastic books on cricket and the community that she was talking about in the mid-innings interval. Thanks to our camera ops, Matthew Lurcock and Jacob Kilbride, as well as Conor Murphy and Adrian Mithakray, our production crew behind the scenes. Thanks to you for your company wherever you've been across the world here at York as the players shake hands. It is Lancashire who've deservedly taken victory. Remember that Yorkshire women are at home in a double header. On Friday night they will host Somerset, the men hosting Durham on our next Vertu live stream. Meanwhile, Lancashire will look to build on this momentum. Yorkshire all but out of the Blast now, but Lancashire with a win in each of their last 4 games could still sneak into the top 4. And these sides meet again in Rose's T20 action when the men and the women both play at Old Trafford next Friday. But for now, from all of us here at York, it's goodbye.